With it being the Switch 2 and the logo just being terrible, I've seen that. It baffles me that they
It
would
checks
call
out.
it the Switch 2, though. Like, I
I just
feel like
think, what
they'll
else do you
just
call it?
They don't know, but they don't.
Because we've
normally
seen
do
it. It
two.
is a Switch.
Yeah, but like we had
What if
Wii
it's
and
the
then we had
Switch
Wii
3D?
U.
What if it's the Switch 3D? I'm just going back to like the DS times.
What if it's-
what versions did they do?
But what if it's the Switch Mag because they're using magnets? Or
That
something
would be
like,
a dope name.
like
Skeleton Crew finale. Go on, take your little lap of honor.
once again, I am correct from the beginning. Like way back in the beginning, like we had
Yeah.
many other theories throughout the show as things developed, but actually at the beginning I was like, what if a droid's just running this and it's stuck in a protocol? We predicted GI Robot wasn't done and dusted. I like that they've brought him back beefier, like he's been upgraded.
So that's been a point of mixed contention for some people. Hello and welcome back to episode 146 of Cutscene Convos. We have got a great episode for you this week. Our character profile is the one and only Cloak. We have the finale of Creature Commandos. We have the finale of the Skeleton Crew. We have a preview of your Friendly Neighbourhood Spider-Man. Josh is back with another Gaming Monthly and a quiz. And as always, we have the Nerd News Network. But for all that good stuff, Horizontal, how's your week been?
My week's been pretty good. Obviously, the new season of Marvel Rivals dropped.
It did.
Which we'll talk plenty about Marvel Rivals with Josh, but
Mhm.
been playing just
A lot.
a lot of that.
Hours.
Yeah, I mean, new season seems great so far. Loving everything they've added. Obviously, jumped straight back into ranked. I've finally, as of last night, got back into gold. Leaving you all behind once again.
Yeah. I just don't have enough
It's
hours, man.
Yeah, it's rough because it's like, it's such a mental thing at the moment for me of being like, I'm actually like having a fun time in solo queue. I'm doing well. So I want to keep playing and climbing, but then I also, part of me does feel bad that I'm just kind of like ditching you all in bronze.
Do you know what I think it is? I don't even think your win rate is going to be that much higher. It's just you've been able to put in so many more hours.
Yeah. And I do think I have, and I'm not going to shy away from the fact that I play late at night, so I'm getting less, like my games often feel closer, and there's a higher chance that I'm going to get players that are somewhat decent in the game because they're grinding into the night.
Whereas when you're playing at prime 8 o'clock,
yeah, you get people that just hopped on for the evening. Yeah.
And that's
so
fine.
Yeah, I'm not going to shy away from that. I mean, I definitely get my fair share of toxic players, but it happens. But yeah, we're back in gold.
Yeah.
My goal is to try. I mean, I just got into plat on literally like 2 games before the season 0 cut off. So I mean, if I can get back to plat, I'll be happy. We'll see if I can get higher than that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But other than that, just been working on my website some more. Almost done with that. I've got like a few more like projects to add to it, and then been hitting the gym still. I'm like 6
You're locked
months.
in for the start of this year.
Yeah, I mean, even though I go late at night, purely so it's quieter, I have noticed it be busier. Thankfully, I go late enough that like it being busier isn't so busy that like I can't use things. It's just
there's people now.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, there's more people that I've not seen before over the last 6 months here. I look forward to no longer seeing them after January because they've all stopped going. But yeah, I mean, we're locked in with the gym. I mean,
awesome.
Yeah, that's kind of been my week. How's your week been?
Not too bad. For the first time in an age, I had to do just a weekend of content because I'm so good at being ahead on content. I am.
Christmas shook it all up.
Yeah, and I'd got ahead for the entire month of December, and then I got back to work, and I came home last weekend. I'm like, shit, I have nothing.
You did the thing that I often see content creators, like they all prep like mad for December because like, oh, I've got Christmas, I'm not going to be about, got to get all these videos made. They completely forget about prepping into January. and come back like,
Today we're doing an unboxing of a banana. But Marvel Rivals came in clutch with the new season and
Yeah.
lots of things for me to make videos on, thankfully. But yeah, so that was a mad dash the weekend just gone, to like edit like comic TikToks and full length videos and just shorts. But I've got myself a buffer again that I can now build on and get going again. But other than that, it was pretty uneventful. That zapped most of my weekend. Found plenty of time to still play games and chill and stuff. But I enjoy not doing anything at the weekend. But I do get like that guilt of feeling like I've not done anything. So despite being a crazy busy weekend, I felt a lot more at ease because I was like, I did so much fucking stuff this week. I got like 6 videos done, and I'm awesome, and all my shorts are done for the month. So that was a nice feeling, but it was just a lot, man. It's a lot. Yeah, we're back. We're gaming. I'm looking forward to the year. I'm kind of locked in and ready to go now. Work is touch wood, like an ideal level of busy.
Nice.
Like I know what's going on. I don't feel like it's randomly going to ramp up in a way that's going to make me go, shit, what's happening? But I also don't feel like I'm going to get in and go, right, what am I doing? Like I feel like I have a clear idea of what needs to be done every day at the minute, which is so nice. Yeah, just getting back in the flow of things, getting ready for the new year. Lots of fun stuff coming this year that I'm great looking forward to. But let's get into a character profile.
Yes, another Marvel Rivals themed.
I've debated doing Cloak and Dagger before, because they did have a show that was not massively well received, but it was like a sign that they were like building into the more obscure characters, and they are very interesting. But as Marvel Rivals has come out, they're definitely in the zeitgeist. So we're doing our character profile today on Cloak. Next week will be Dagger.
Okay, we're
Just
doing
Cloak.
them as separate.
They are individuals.
Okay.
They're a yin and yang, but they are individuals.
Okay.
So any effective superhero requires an ability to accept darkness as well as light. This is exactly what Tyrone Johnson supplies to the superhero duo Cloak and Dagger in his role as Cloak. Making his first appearance in the Spectacular Spider-Man number 64 back in December 1981. Growing up poor in Boston, he worked hard at school to give himself a chance at a better life. Despite his chronic stutter, he was an incredibly good student, and with the support of his best friend Billy, he was able to get by with incredibly good grades. However, after they were out late one night, they witnessed a robbery gone wrong that ended in a fatal shooting of a shop worker. When the police arrived, fearing they'd be blamed, Billy attempted to run for it. However, because of Tyrone's stutter, before he could say anything, his friend was shot dead. This grief and anguish and feeling of responsibility for his friend's death caused Tyrone to run away to New York City. It was at the Manhattan Port Authority bus terminal Tyrone encountered Tandy Bowen, a fellow runaway, for the first time. When she was robbed, Tyrone intervened and saved her, which caused them to become friendly, and it was this moment that changed Tyrone's life forever. Now feeling responsible for this naive rich girl, especially when she accepted shelter from some sketchy men, Tyrone felt obligated to go along with her as a precaution. Sadly for them, it was indeed a setup. Dr. Simon Marshall was a scientist for the Magia crime family, who had been tasked with creating a new synthetic drug to replace heroin in the city and allow the Magia family to control the production, distribution, and sale of this new synthetic drug. Unfortunately, things were not going well, as this new synthetic drug kept on killing the runaways and homeless people they had been testing it on. That was until Tyrone and Tandy were drugged. The drug interacted with them in a way that didn't kill them, but instead gave them superpowers. Tyrone became a living portal to the dark dimension and began going by the name Cloak, whereas Tandy developed light-based power and went by the name Dagger. Using these powers, they were able to escape captivity and find a way to safety. Once they realised what had been done to them, they grew incredibly angry and decided to do something about it. So they declared a war on drugs and drug crime in New York City, and they became brutal and merciless vigilantes targeting the Magia and Dr. Marshall specifically. After Spider-Man attempted to stop them from committing more murders, and Dagger began to change her approach, this, however, was not as easy for Cloak, as his abilities also made him need to consume living things. It was at this point they realised that Dagger could feed him her light to stave off this need. From that moment on, they continued to fight crime and targeted drug rings especially, but they now actively avoided taking lives and instead tried to focus on being the best heroes they could be. Teaming up with the New Mutants, Spider-Man and Doctor Strange on a semi-regular basis and battling the likes of Doctor Doom, Mephisto and more, they aren't street heroes because that's all they can do. They are street heroes because as runaway children, they know how dangerous the city can be. So, ironically, this is going to be one of them moments where I throw a weird bit of lore about myself. Before I really was deep into comic collecting, I bought a number of volumes, which is just a good way to get into a character because there's enough substance there that you can read a good amount. And I got a hardback that was about Cloak and Dagger. Before they were in a show, before I knew who they were, I was like, why not? And they are very cool. There's definitely some issues when they were first about in the 80s that are, looking back, not the best. Right. There is a very sad kind of history of Cloak being thrown to the side a little bit.
Right.
And it being more, oh, you're the duo of the rich white girl with nice light-based powers that is very marketable.
Got you.
But I think at its core, it was written with good intent of drug problems in the way. These kids are doing the right thing after a horrible situation. Very interesting characters. And they are characters that for a long time I've hoped to see get a bit more, pardon the pun, of a light shined on them. Nice. And I'm hoping Marvel Rivals is going to be a little bit of a catalyst for that.
Well, I mean, we've already seen that with Jeff and people playing like Cloak and Dagger a lot. So
exactly.
I do think this game will help some more of these characters that are like less known.
Absolutely. For sure. There we go. That is our character profile on Cloak.
Very cool.
Right. Creature Commandos finale.
Yes. The end of the first DCU project.
Set up lovely for season 2, which we now know is happening.
Yes, indeed. I mean, R.I.P. Nina.
Yes. So this is what I was going to ask you. Did you feel like it was rushed at all at the end? Because I have some feelings, but they're a little conflicted.
Yeah. I don't think it was rushed. I do think the pace suddenly went quicker, but I think, in a way, partly intentional, because it's like the story was leading up to, like we said last week, everyone's going to reach this point of don't kill the princess while they're trying to kill the princess, and it's going to be this kind of rush panic to stop it. And I guess that could then come across as the show felt rushed because all these things kind of happened very quickly. I think the unfortunate thing is we got Nina's backstory mixed in with this episode. So maybe that's what added to people feeling it was a bit rushed.
Maybe. I think I agree. I think the pacing change throughout the episode did make a lot of sense to kind of build that sense of urgency as we're getting to like, are they going to kill the princess? What's going to happen? And then obviously they get the message, call it off. It is too late to save Nina, but they get the message. And then that brings the pace right down. And I get what you're saying with the story there. And I do think that's what they were going for. I think they just missed it slightly. It felt less like they're like upping the tempo
Hmm.
and more like they started upping the tempo and then maybe lost a little bit of control and then had to slam on the brakes. It didn't feel perfect in that sense to me. It wasn't bad, don't get me wrong. We've dealt with a lot worse pacing in
Yeah.
shows. I just felt like they didn't quite nail what they were trying to do. And I'm definitely more accepting of it because it's clear that that was their intent. This idea of we want to build tension and then cut the tension, and then you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But I don't think they quite nailed it.
I was wrong about Nina being the diabolical one.
I really wanted her to be diabolical.
I was waiting, like, obviously the flashbacks, like, honestly kind of heartbreaking what her story was. And then it's like,
I
her
swear
dad...
every week they just went, do you want a really heartbreaking story? Do you want to see us do it again?
Yeah. But it's like, I was like, oh, the dad's been killed. I was like, is she about to, like, flip shit and go, like,
I was going to be
like...
like, no, free her. They shot her dad for nothing. Let her
I was
cook.
like, is she about to, like, flip out and, like, and that's why she's ended up in prison? I'm like, and I guess I'm like, oh, no, she genuinely is the only one that shouldn't be in prison. Like,
She was thrown in there because she is a monster.
Yeah, she did nothing wrong, whereas the others all at least... I mean, you
Committed a
could...
crime.
Weasel also technically didn't do anything wrong.
But like, in the eyes of the law, he's been convicted of an actual crime at least.
Yeah, but he's at least fighting his, I guess. So I think, like... But then it's kind of so smart that they did that, because then we get that backstory, and then she's the one that dies.
The only one that should like have no reason of being there. She didn't even commit. She not even in the eyes of the law did she commit a crime that she should be in prison for.
No, and at first she wasn't even wanting to be the one to go kill the princess, but then kind of was sold on it by the others.
Yeah.
I just want to say, I was right last week in the sense of I questioned to you, I was like, when did Clayface switch? And you were like, oh, it was always Clayface. And I was like, and I just went, I was like, okay, I guess so.
Oh no, it was still always Clayface.
No.
It was just Clayface's motivations.
No. It wasn't. No, the thing was, it wasn't Clayface in the woman that came to say her vision is real. That wasn't Clayface.
Was it not?
No, that was the reveal. Is that it was switched afterwards.
Oh, sorry, I must have misunderstood that. I took that as the reveal was yes, Clayface was her, but his entire thing was being there on the princess's charge to try and make the situation messy. Maybe I misunderstood.
No, the thing was meant to be she knew Rick would obviously was hooked on her and would probably try and save her. Obviously, she then sent Clayface to make that situation messy. Last week I was like, it felt like that wasn't Clayface in the like interrogation room because of how different Clayface was acting as Elektra, but when she was actually in the interrogation thing, she seemed somewhat normal. But I was like, and I wish I'd trusted my gut and stuck by that prediction, but oh well. But I mean, the Clayface reveal, I mean, we were right in like, I didn't trust that the princess was, I was like, there's something truthful in that vision, but I wasn't, it turns out it was fully truthful. We saw like the glimpse of that when she's under the water and killing Nina, and like the look in her face, you're like, oh, you're evil. Then she comes up and she looks all like
using the water
innocent.
to have her hair like floating up in a more like maniacal way, and the blood and her just stoked was so cool. I don't know why Nina didn't just like grip her and just sink to the bottom of the floor though. It's like, I can breathe underwater, you can't. If I just pin you down there, you'll die.
If she just would have kept stabbing though, I guess.
No, I'm saying like when she like temporarily loses the knife, why doesn't she just wrap the princess's arms and let them both sink to the bottom?
She's not a killer.
I'll just wait for you to drown.
Here's the thing: she's not. We've learned she wasn't a killer. She kind of just was like, oh, this situation's now gone wrong, and I don't know how to respond in this situation.
Weasel did fuck it.
Yeah. all because we saw how he was picturing the little girl, and then obviously
he went, "You look like the little girl."
I really wish they'd revealed it was the same person. Obviously, it wouldn't have made any sense.
Wouldn't have made any sense
I know,
whatsoever.
but it would have been cool if that's why she hates the US. I thought it was hilarious that Frankenstein rocks up and immediately she just blasts him, and she's just like, "You stalker," and I'm like, "Oh, well, that was over very quickly."
I wonder what James Gunn's opinion on people who stalk women are. Based on the way that was written.
Yeah. I mean, this is jumping to the post-credit scene, but like, I knew for a fact he wasn't dead.
Yeah, no, I think the entire point of Oh, sorry. That's just reminded me. Sorry, completely forgot. In the study, when she's about to kill the princess, did you see what book she picked up?
No, I didn't pay.
It was titled Mary Shelley.
Oh.
I was like, that's really funny. Having the Bride of Frankenstein pick that up is very, very funny.
It almost, but like when she killed Frankenstein, I was like, it almost feels like she's done this exact situation before, and
she doesn't expect that to be permanent. She's just
no
buying herself some time.
She knows this like kicks him to rocks for a while, and then he'll like. She did it so quick, and it was just like, oh, I don't think he's dead. Also, because like he's Frankenstein, I was like, surely bullets don't kill him that easily. But I thought that was funny, and it kind of in the same way that I predicted, if like he just kind of spits out that Rick Flag was, not that they listened to it.
No, I find him rambling on in like the taxi.
Yes,
so funny.
Yeah,
he's like, make love, but not the hard pornographic love, the central stuff that chicks like.
And then the taxi driver's just like frightened. Yeah, no, that's why I'm loving Frankenstein. This he was so
the use of him as comedic relief has been very, very good in the show.
The reveal, like Amanda Waller realizing, oh, we fucked up. So then she tries to, she stops it. Thankfully, Weasel essentially stops it anyway.
Yeah.
But then the bride knows that it's true, but then it's like, oh, I'm just going to kill you because you killed my only friend.
Yeah. She's like, you killed Nina, fuck you.
I can get if people feel like that's a bit quick as well.
But that needs to be like a shock and awe moment.
Yeah, of like her working it, like, because we'd already had the tease of like they've seen something on the cameras. Now, going forward into the DCU, do you think the bride killing this princess is going to have an effect on the bigger story of the DCU? Because you've essentially had the US assassinate a princess of a country that we've seen has pretty decent technology.
Yeah, but we don't have a scale of what that is compared to the rest of the world.
True.
I struggle to believe in any world that has technology like that, and the US is still just the US military as we think of them.
Well, yeah.
I imagine it'll be like a newspaper clipping or like something that Lois is writing an article on in Superman.
It's more like as well considering like that vision. Could that vision still come true?
And that would be interesting. I am curious to see how they handle like big events in the DCU, because we know the idea is this universe exists. We're going to invite a storyteller in to tell a story in this universe, rather than this universe is the story. Yeah. And I'm curious to see how major events that would affect things actually play out, or whether it's just a case of this has happened, and if we need to explain the US is currently at war at any point, that's a reason we can explain it for. Yeah,
I wondered. I think it'll either be a case of saying Superman. There's a thing on the news of US clashes with Pelosi, or like currently in talks for a ceasefire or something. Like there's going to be some nod to, oh look, they weren't happy, they clapped back, and maybe it in a film or something down the line, like a situation big enough that a superhero has to help step in. and it's like a side thing that happens. Who knows? But I just thought it was interesting because obviously, like, very clearly the US has assassinated that princess. Like,
Yeah.
there's no hiding that. And it's like, does that have a knock-on effect for the future of like the DCU world that's going on?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think that is completely right. And it is interesting to see where it's going to go. It's cool to see what happens with the Creature Commandos going forward. We've got a second season
Yes,
now. We've got an
a
idea of
setup
what the
of
roster's going to be.
mm,
So, the Bride, Frankenstein, Doctor Phosphorus,
yeah,
Nosferatu
Weasel.
Teta,
So which one?
Weasel,
It's not.
the woman with the bat wings.
Oh, the Bat Lady, because there was also a
Yeah.
mummy in the background.
Yeah, I'm not sure who that is. And GI Robot Mark II.
Yeah, beefy GI Robot and
Yeah.
King Shark,
Yes, and King Shark.
who made as soon as King Shark was out, I was like, everyone enjoyed King Shark's commentary from Suicide Squad, so they've brought him back.
Yeah.
Yeah, the GI. We predicted GI Robot wasn't done and dusted. I like that they've brought him back beefier, like he's been upgraded.
So that's been a point of mixed contention for some people.
Okay.
So some people's ones that was like, I don't like when James Gunn does this, and they showed like the beefy Groot at the end of Guardians 3 compared to Guardians 1 Groot, and they were like, I didn't like that change, which is fine, you don't have to. And they were like, and then doing the same thing here, people were like, I get it, I don't like it though. I'd have liked him to do it in a different way. And I get that. I mean, you don't have to like every design for every character all the time. I'm with you though. I think it's a cool design.
I mean, it gives them, at least from my brain.
You got to have a tank, otherwise, what's the point of the comp? The comp's fun.
Well, not even that. It's like this is now more advanced tech. He can have more cool weaponry. So
the Nazi killing ability is so much higher now.
Yeah, like you're gonna get some cooler moments from him in a fight, and he's not just gonna get like they don't want him to get obliterated again instantly. So
yeah, but it was nice to know that he's okay. He's fine. He's doing his thing. But yeah, solid start to the DCU.
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
And it absolutely does give a lot of credence to that idea of you don't have to watch everything in the DCU. Because I'm willing to bet most of this stuff will not matter unless you want to watch season 2. And if you're going to watch season 2, I think it's fair to accept that you should watch season 1.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. All that they've done is that kind of has any implication was we were shown Batman already exists, but that didn't really give other than like
that's
he
just
exists.
a bit of world building. Yeah, that's all that is if they want to use Dr. Phosphorus as another villain for Batman again, we know they have a bit of history.
Yeah. Obviously, if any of these characters do show up, like if you haven't watched this, you might not know where they've come from.
It's not a huge issue.
No. Yeah, there isn't really like even that what we were saying about how does this story affect the DCU story. I do think it'll be a news headline thing that just references.
It'll be something that's in there for idiots like us. Go, did you see what's on the? Did you see the headline article?
The animated show is affecting Superman.
Yeah,
But to everyone else, they probably won't notice that. I'll put yeah, I do think it won't massively affect the main story arc that they're going to do in this first phase or whatever. But it was a fun start. I kind of enjoyed that they've started with animation. Gives them a lot of freedom to just kick things off. And I mean, obviously, I think the next thing is Superman, right? There's nothing in between.
As far as I know, it is,
Yeah.
I believe the initial rumor was Waller might come out before it, which is another animated show.
Right.
But I don't believe that's either happening or going to be up for Superman. So yeah, as far as I know, next thing is Superman, which is like less than 6 months away now. Which is
so the next DCU thing will be us diving into live action and kind of seeing how it compares to the animated world.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if it has a similar enough vibe that we're like, okay, this world all feels somewhat cohesive.
Absolutely.
Yeah, looking forward to the future.
Absolutely. Skeleton Crew finale. Go on, take your little lap of honour.
once again, I am correct from the beginning. Like way back in the beginning, like we had
Yeah.
many other theories throughout the show as things developed, but actually at the beginning I was like, what if a droid's just running this and it's stuck in a protocol?
Yeah.
And what actually was more,
I mean, it wasn't stuck in a protocol. It was just like, I'm just
well,
cracking on.
it sort of was. It was just running off its last orders.
Directive. Yeah.
Yeah.
This place was set up to just keep doing what you're doing unless you're told otherwise, and it wasn't told otherwise. It wasn't stuck. It was just they said to keep doing this until we're told not to. We've not been told not to.
The biggest surprise to me, I was like, oh, it's droid, but it was actually like the mum knew it was a droid. Like I was
Yeah.
fully expecting it to be a case of, oh, like whoever was the human supervisor died and a droid just was left to run things. But like actually,
One thing that threw me
Hmm.
as the elevator opened up, the room up there, I don't know if this was just me, I think it was a red herring on purpose. It was giving Imperial design. Like that room with a lot of the darker colours and the way the desks were set up. I saw that, I was like, this feels Imperial.
Yeah, I think it was,
and I think that was a red herring.
It was a bit of
And
a red
also,
herring.
when the the supervisor was facing the other way, it also looked a little bit like the fucking thing Darth Vader used to sit in.
Yes, I did think that.
So
I was like, is this going to open up and there's someone sat inside it?
I was like, what is happening here? I was like, oh, maybe the Empire did come down and take control, but they just let them all think it was still the Republic they were working for. But I think that was just a red herring.
I do wonder, like, because there was chairs and stuff in there that had gone, like, there was obviously some point back when it probably first was launched, there was probably people up there.
Yeah.
And more people had contact with, but I do wonder if just over time they slowly left it to just the droid to run things and they were the supervisor.
Yeah. I can imagine so.
I think the whole idea of like it being dusty and whatnot just shows how little people now visited the supervisor for anything. Because you've got to think it'd been generations since this planet started. So these current generation, all they know is this planet probably and how it runs.
What I was really interested by is the fact that the supervisor knew of Order 66.
Yes, that caught me off guard, which honestly makes a lot of sense. Like that, or as soon as Order 66 was called, that was sent like the part of it was sent to all troops, it was sent everywhere automatically. So like this being a planet that was hidden but known by the Republic makes sense that it was sent to them. I love that was used to catch Jod out.
Yeah, that was brilliant. My thing is that does exacerbate my minor plot hole of why did Palpatine not do anything with this planet?
Okay, here's my thing for that then. You've actually got to think Palpatine doing Order 66 into the original trilogy. Like that is a fairly short period of time in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
He might have done or known of this planet. Maybe he had sent emissaries. We know it's been hundreds of years since then.
But my thing with that is, it's why would they still be taking High Republic credits when we know the Imperials use different credits? We know during the Empire they use like silver credits, and then these are gold credits. So it's not like they were just like, oh, you know what, it's the same money, let them think everything's fine, which wouldn't be very Empire anyway. They'd want them working harder and having less fun. But also, it's not like they could use that currency. So I'm really curious about that.
It could also
Chancellor,
be.
did he not have a ship that allowed him access?
Possibly. There is a possibility like you could look at it as, if you think back to the prequels and the Clone Wars, the Jedi were running the army.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Jedi were in control of all the military. They might have also been part of like hiding these planets. It might not necessarily have been the Senate. You also know some people in the Senate probably were killed when all that shift of power happened. Order 66 was sent automatically. He might not have known of this planet, and then there's a war, there's rebels, like all this fight back. Obviously, maybe someone was sent. Also, it was sent from what they were saying. The ship was offloading, is what they kept saying. Like, which makes me think this was less like was a mint, but also didn't often take credit, or maybe they did also take credits back. But like, it always felt like they were talking about this was more like a bank vault, like they deposit stuff here.
Yeah, that was one thing that I wasn't too sure about, or whether they
maybe
just been
that's
so long
part
they
of
weren't
why.
sure. Maybe,
but I can see a world where everything that happened in the like the Imperial's reign, so much shit went on there, and so many people died by the end of it and were cleared out that like this is the sort of thing that could be forgotten over time, and then 100 years later it's like
it is very easy to accept that Palpatine got into power and he was so busy with shit that he just slipped his mind because the galaxy's a big place.
yeah, it's also one of those things like if they have credits elsewhere, or like they minted elsewhere and this was like a secret one, someone just doesn't pass that up. Like if that's something that gets hidden away in the bottom of a file somewhere, then we're in war and it's like, okay, we're focused on using these credits because we know this mint exists. Don't go looking into, is there a hidden mint? Like, who? Yeah. But yeah, the droid knowing about Order 66.
So what are you, a Jedi or an emissary?
Yeah.
Or are you lying about both?
I love that the kids were the ones to save the day. I also love that Wim's dad kind of like broke free of the strict rules a little bit and started realizing, wait, this is a lot of fun.
Yeah. When he was like getting angry and then he was like, fuck it, I'm gonna do it, just twatted John in the face. I was like, I'm so proud of you right now.
I have to say, we were sort of right, or you were sort of right about John and him sort of being a Jedi because he had a Jedi master.
So he was clearly saved by a Jedi on the run.
Yes. There was obviously some Jedi master on the run. They came across him, obviously noticed that he had midichlorians and the ability to use the Force.
Yeah.
So then probably took him with him to protect him. But unfortunately,
and then the Inquisitors got hold of them.
Yeah, it seems like George witnessed this Jedi that was teaching him stuff get just slaughtered. Which is obviously then I get like that probably pushed him into piracy and that line of work.
Well, he was already like a bordering on pirate. He was like, got to do it for what I can to stay alive. And then the one nice person he met got killed for it, which just kind of extinguished that. Be nice to people because that's what happens.
It surprised me that like he hasn't somewhat shifted opinion on the Republic because he would have known that was Imperials and then now we're in a new Republic. But I guess he just sees them all as equally bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like that they explained his Force use that way because then it makes it much more believable why he wasn't like
crazy
owning them. Well, owning them with like when they had hold of the lightsaber, a Jedi Master would have yoinked that out of their hands, no problem.
Real quick.
it added to that level of like, oh, we're not expecting him to be like Jedi Master level here.
It was just enough to trick the kids at first. Yeah, exactly. It was a trick.
But even at the end, Wim was like, still kind of wanted to believe that he'd be a good guy as they would go in the elevator. But
I think that's kind of the whole idea, isn't it? It's like a kid's whimsy almost of like believing the best in everyone.
Yeah.
But I also like that they didn't really give us an ending. They're like, the pirates were stopped. Who knows what happens next?
Yeah, this is the thing. It's like, do I want to know more about what happens now? Sure, because I'm like, I've become invested in this little story. Am I okay if this is the last we ever see of this? Also, yes. Like, it didn't end in a way...
This is exactly what Star Wars needed.
Yeah, it's not ended in a way where I'm like, what about this? Like, this is a pretty important thing you've not answered. It's just ended. Like, the biggest question now is, what's the future for this planet? Because it has no barrier. That's apparently been destroyed, but yet the things are still in the sky.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure how that part works.
I don't know if then actually the things that were generating the barrier, I think they were just the defense mechanism within the barrier.
Yeah,
So
that makes sense.
that's my guess as to why they were still up. I was expecting them to blow up, but actually I think they're like the defense system that was hidden. I mean, the New Republic now knows of it. Obviously, there's going to be a report of what happened.
But the New Republic will just take all that coin.
Well, this is the thing that I presume they'll just start using that money. I'd be okay if we revisit this sort of story arc of like Skeleton Crew season 2, say, is time hop. The kids are all a bit older. They've all done their assessments and have their jobs, and it's like Wim is currently running the first space like crew of Assassin, or has joined like the X-Wing pilot program. Like
that seemed to be how they were leaving us with Wim. Wim was like looking through the hole in the ceiling at the X-Wings, knowing they were the good guys.
Well, and looking at the ship that they had, technically, like, yeah, I'd be okay if we kind of jump forward. It's like, how is this planet now adjusted to being part of the New Republic? Are they, and what are these kids like? Are they going to be explorers now? I imagine Neil wouldn't leave the planet again.
No, I like the idea of like KB and Neil being like the high-ranking officials, like the senator and the prime minister of the planet. And
you're
then
like really jump forward.
Yeah, and then like Fern and Wim kind of being explorer, protector type vibe. But yeah, I mean the show was so much fun. It was it was a breath of fresh air.
Oh
for
yeah,
Star Wars.
it's what it needed. I also love Neil. That big brain move to be like, oh, there was a hidden cannon, anti-air cannon on this like mirrored planet of ours. I'd forgotten. And then it's like, oh, this still exists. And I was like, oh my God, that all that stuff is here. It's just. But then that makes me question, like, did that other planet realize they were being run by a droid and were like, we don't want this anymore? And just kind of then.
Or maybe Tax Renard went there, broke onto the planet.
Oh, and change.
Or whatever
that
resource
caused it
they
to
had.
change.
Yeah, and then he was going to go to Atatin, but they crash landed.
Possibly. There's like questions to like, because there's other planets, like, were the other planets destroyed like the Owl Lady was saying, so they don't actually exist anymore? Or are they also hidden with different shit going on?
Or are they also in shambles? Yeah. But so good. Definitely a hidden gem we weren't expecting to be so unique. Star Wars, this is what we want. Fun stories where you go, here's a thing that's happening, here's the story, the thing's ended, it doesn't matter. You've seen the adventure now, everything else is inconsequential.
I'm fine with us like the 3 areas being like, give us the Andor stuff, because we love that like bit more gritty political, like early rebel sort of stuff. That stuff's cool. We enjoyed that. We're all looking forward to Andor season 2.
Hell yeah.
Lots of people really enjoyed Ahsoka. We got the mystical stuff. We're like people.
And we're getting Ahsoka season 2.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that. Give us also more stories like Skeleton Crew, where it's like a bit more kid focused, a bit more fun, a bit different. Can be separate.
Here's a person in the galaxy. They're going on an adventure. Would you like to join them?
Yeah, exactly.
And the answer is yes, I would.
So yeah, I love this direction. Hopefully they can find a way to somehow bring these into films. This like vibe into new films that then people enjoy the new films, because that's where they're really struggling.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
I'm glad that what now seems to be kind of the direction Disney's going in, a lot more practical, using stop motion, using props more. Like, I'm glad they're going back to this. I will say, hell of a VFX shot with the pirate ship crashing. Like, if you think for a TV show, Like I was watching that, I was like, this is like they have balled out on this ship crashing.
Yeah,
Like
big time.
for a TV show, obviously it's Star Wars and Disney, but like still. But yeah,
Yeah,
I everything about the show was great, really.
couldn't rate it highly enough. Jenna loved it. She doesn't watch a lot of Star Wars stuff. It's not really her bag. After watching the first few episodes, I was like, you need to give this a go. This is the exact kind of thing you would like. And she did, and she fucking loved it. And I completely agree. They need to make room in their creative plans for more shows like this.
Agreed.
Your Friendly Neighbourhood Spider-Man
Yes, it's around the
comes
corner.
out, I believe, in like exactly 2 weeks. What do we think about this? The animation style is hotly
Discussed.
debated.
Yes.
Um, it's been a long time since we've had a new Spider-Man cartoon.
Hmm.
They're definitely fucking with some concepts. Doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing, but they are doing that.
Yeah.
That's a thing that's happening. They're trying something, but there is a genuine question of, did anyone want or ask for this?
I think, like, obviously we've discussed about the animation style. We're both kind of like we're open to this style and we'll see how it feels.
Yeah,
I get some people being a bit standoffish about it. It's not your like what you would expect nowadays for an animation style.
yeah,
But I think that's why it's coming from a place of creative choice and should hopefully work. I do think unfortunately some people will just not like it and that will hurt the show a little bit in like ratings because people are just like this animation style's horrible to me and I think this ruins the show. I think unfortunately the only other animated Spider-Man stuff that we've had recently has been Spider-Verse, which people
which is a
love.
whole other level, isn't it?
Yeah. And like they've got their own very unique style that is now loved by people that however way you want to cut it, people are going to compare this to that because they're like, well, this is what we could have as an animated Spider-Man and you're giving us this. But yeah, I'm optimistic. I think they're doing this for a creative reason. It'll make sense when you watch an episode. Like it'll feel
Yes.
right.
If they stick to that, like going between
Comic panels.
shots, like
Yeah.
we've seen them use in the trailer, if they stick to that theme throughout the show, the visual style will make a lot more sense. If they just did that for the trailer, I think I might have a larger problem with
Yeah, I could
the design choice. Maybe. I might still not care, but I can see that potentially being something that might bother me.
But I mean, yeah, I mean, story-wise, we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah.
I don't know how long this season's meant to be. I'm gonna guess as it's Disney Plus, like 8 episodes.
12 episodes at most, yeah.
Yeah.
The big thing that's confusing me is in the trailer we see Norman Osborn give him the Future Foundation suit.
Yes, I'm gonna be saying
which
this.
isn't a Norman Osborn thing, that's a Fantastic Four thing. And if it's not going to be a Fantastic Four thing, they could have just redesigned a different suit. There are so many creative people who would love the opportunity to design a spider suit. I don't know why you would just take a suit that was used for something else and use it. Weird to me. We know we're going to get a lot of other characters. We know like Daredevil's making appearances and characters like that. I'm cautiously optimistic that it will be fun. But we do need to remember when it comes to comic book stuff and cartoons especially, Spider-Man people have always got a lot, which kind of makes them harder to please.
Yeah, you got a lot of competition.
Yeah, like if we were getting like I know it's out there, like an animated Jeff the Landshark show. Yeah, there are less Jeff the Landshark fans than Spider-Man fans, and they've never had a TV show for their favorite character. They'd kind of just be excited that their favorite character's getting a show.
Yeah, agree. Yeah, I get
Spider-Man fans are going to compare it to the 19 other Spider-Man cartoons we've had and all the films and go, well, it was better than that, but it was worse than all of these, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. It's one of those where I think I'm the same as you. I'm optimistic, but it's kind of Marvel's last lot of animated stuff has only been What If, really, and that's not
Mm-hmm.
really been great in
No,
the grand scheme of things.
which is kind of why I'm glad they
Well,
chose to change the animation style.
yeah. Then you've got X-Men 97, and we love that. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, this is very different. It's like, visually, it might work if the story is strong like the X-Men 97 story was. It also could have the effect of people go, well, where does this fit into MCU stuff? If they want it,
I
like
mean,
some people get picky like
it's
that.
yeah, it's not MCU, and I think they've kind of made a rod for their own back because for so long, like the Marvel motto was MCU synergy.
Mm-hmm.
Everything had to relate back to the films in some way. It caused changes to the way comics were written. Caused changes to games. Caused changes to everything. And now the DCU's come about, and I don't think DCU caused Spider-Man to happen.
Mm.
I think the reason the DCU was made the DCU is being made is the same reason Marvel have realised this MCU synergy is unsustainable. Is because you need to have people be able to choose what they want to watch.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, a lot of the people who are still die-hard Marvel fans and will watch something like this are people who are used to MCU synergy now and are, like you say, going to go, wait, this isn't MCU, it makes no sense. What's the point?
I do predict it'll like start with this is Earth whatever number, so that like
Honestly, it wouldn't hurt.
no, yeah, it won't. But I think it kind of needs to have that.
Just
That
get Ryan
instantly
Reynolds in
just
the Deadpool suit to just go, this is not the MCU.
he's just in the post credits, just like at the TVA, being like, "Yo, this is different world. No Tom Holland."
Yeah. Just give us something. Because you're right, there are going to be people who don't understand it. It's not their fault because for the longest time, they have been used to anything that's Marvel as the MCU.
Mm. Yeah, I think unfortunately, if it doesn't land with people, people are going to turn around and go, "Why couldn't you give us X-Men 97 but with Spider-Man?" Or "We've got Spider-Verse. Why couldn't you take an inspiration? Like, this is what we want. You gave us this." And yeah, it's
I
the sort of
completely agree.
show that the internet might get a
Could
hold
eat
of.
alive.
Yeah, because they don't like it, and then it goes round the internet of people that haven't really watched it, and they're going, "Oh, this
Oh,
looks rubbish."
it's a big candidate for they've decided it's bad before having watched it, and therefore they're not gonna watch it, but they're gonna complain it's bad.
Yeah,
I completely
unfortunately.
agree. There is the big risk of that. I want them to really give us that street level superhero vibe again.
Mm.
I want it to be very character focused. I want it to feel like it. The one thing I have seen people worried about, which I think is very valid, is and like to be honest, and this is no shade at you as not being as big a comic reader, you probably won't even be as aware of this. Peter Parker has lost a lot of his, pardon the pun, venom over the years.
Hmm.
In the 60s, 70s, 80s, it was very common for Peter to be portrayed as someone who's trying his best, but has a bit of an anger issue.
Uh-huh.
That is not the case anymore. Peter's kind of toothless and boring now.
Well, yeah, I think unfortunately a lot of the recent portrayals of Peter have always been superhero origin, young
Yeah.
kid.
No, but that's when he was even worse.
Oh, okay.
Like, high school Peter is, for want of a better word, a bit of an arsehole.
Fair.
And they dialed that back a little bit, which I don't agree with dialing it back a little bit because I think it was a bit much. It was hard to believe that he was a hero at all.
Hmm.
But now we've kind of got, and again, it's like no hate to like Tom Holland or anything, but it's kind of like this cutesy guy who's just like a bit naive and a bit
I get
sweet.
you.
Like in No Way Home, where he had a bit more anger towards Green Goblin after Aunt
Hmm.
May. That's a bit more like it. And like Andrew Garfield getting a bit angry at times, and Tobey Maguire having a bit of a snap in him is a bit more like it. And what we've seen so far, he seems just, oh, what a cute little nerd. And people are like, please let him have a little bit of
Yeah, bite to him.
behind him. Like I know again you've not watched a lot of Doctor Who in a while, but you'll remember doing like early Tennant and Eccleston.
Hmm.
There were then moments where he would go from looking like he's just a clown to just turning on the dime and being like, right,
Yeah.
I am the fucking doctor, you're gonna do as you're told.
Yeah.
There was a little bit of like that kind of could switch moment. And
I get
people are a
you.
little bit worried that that's gone from Peter and never coming back.
I can understand people thinking that, especially with it being Disney. Though
Yeah,
X-Men 97 showed us they can be pretty like hard hitting
yeah,
with the storyline, so maybe
and
they can bring it back.
that's why I'm cautiously optimistic
Yeah,
because I think they can do it. But
it's dope.
we'll have to wait and see. I am excited for the show because how can you not be excited for a Spider-Man project?
I do love
But
Spider-Man.
yeah, that hopefully we get rewarded for our optimism with a very good show, and we get to go, ha ha ha! We told you there was nothing to worry about. And from your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, your friendly neighborhood Josh Man is back. Welcome back,
Josh
Josh.
Man.
Happy New Year.
Happy New
Oh, you're
Year. I
not a
thought you were going
sleeper
to
if you
say it
don't
was
have
Josh
man at the
Man,
end.
not just
bringer of
Josh,
the
Josh
game
Man.
news.
No, a little bit of Geordie in there, Josh Man.
Right, yep.
No.
We're so back to the gaming roundup. Last month was the big Game of the Year episode where we covered everything, all the awards, all of the new announcements that come out, our thoughts on everything, our thoughts of gaming in general for 2024. But because of that, we didn't do our usual roundup. So we've got November games, December games, and a little glimpse of what's coming in January to cover. Mario and Luigi Brothership, I believe, came out the end of November 77, which is a bit disappointing. I'm probably sure Nintendo aren't too happy with that. It could have definitely been worse. Overall, it wasn't the best run of games. Lego Horizon Adventures coming in at a 70, which you know for a fact Sony aren't very happy with that. A lot of people thought it just didn't. It wasn't like a normal Lego game where it follows the story of Horizon. It was a bit more open world, a bit more going
It just
on.
felt like the most who asked for this game I've ever seen.
It was a bit like that, and even the people I know that love Horizon didn't click with this at all. So, bit of a letdown. I'm glad I didn't pre-order it or anything like that. The biggest one that surprised me when I was checking through the scores is Microsoft Flight Sim 24. We saw lots of coverage of this throughout the year at all the different showcases. The previous one got a 90 on Metacritic, whereas this one only got a 77, which I'm very surprised. They added a lot of like sort of
Mission
jobs.
stuff.
Yeah, sort of like a bit of
Yeah.
a story to it where you can actually do stuff rather than just flying around. So I thought that on top of the graphics and stuff that we'd already got would have been a banger, but apparently not. 77.
Maybe they really fluffed it with the new content.
Yeah, I've not really seen anyone talking about it, to be honest. So
No.
I don't think any of us are in that sort of
No,
sphere of Microsoft Flight Sim, are we? So
no, not particularly.
no, definitely not. One that I quite like the look of, but didn't get around to checking out, Stalker 2, Heart Chernobyl, sitting on a 73. Again, okay, nothing spectacular. Would have got you 3 points on Fantasy Critic, which we need to look at. I completely forgot. We need to book in our date to do that. Controversial one, Marvel Rivals is currently sitting on a 74.
I was gobsmacked when I saw this was a 74, by the way.
We'll be discussing Marvel Rivals later, so we can say our thoughts about the 74 and whether
that's genuinely a surprising one to me.
I think I can guess why it might be that low.
We'll come on to that one.
Yeah.
And finally, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. This is one that we all discussed and said we might check it out, might not. It's on Game Pass. If we've not got anything to play, we might come to it. 86. I've only seen one person vocally on Twitter say that they didn't like it. Everyone else, glowing reviews. I'm still a bit hesitant on it. The whole first person thing weeds me out a little bit. But 86, I mean, I'll probably end up checking it out eventually when I get to my backlog. But 86, pretty solid score.
My plan was absolutely to play this game at release. Unfortunately, 3 days before it came out, I kind of got taken over. So I ended up having not played it yet, but it is still on my list to play at some point when I get around to it. That is kind of the only bad thing about Game Pass. I'm a lot worse just going, oh, I'll get to it eventually because it's
always going to be there ready for it. Valid. But yeah, so Indiana Jones was sort of the only decent scoring game that's come out in the last couple of months since we've done our roundup of reviews. Hopefully 2025 is a little bit better. Speaking of, the games coming out this month and before next month's episode, we've got Dynasty Warriors, which comes out tomorrow or the day after as we're recording. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is getting a PC port next week on January 23rd. Sniper Elite Resistance. I'm a big Sniper Elite guy. I had no idea this was coming out.
I didn't
More
know we were
Sniper
getting
Elite
another
being
one.
made still?
I love the Sniper Elite games, and I had no idea this was a thing. January 30th. I believe it's day one Game Pass. So, another one for you to add to your list.
Might have to give that a go because they're fun. They are
Great games. Spider-Man 2 PC port. Hori, if you haven't played Spider-Man 2, I don't even know if you've played Spider-Man 1. January 30th, it will be on Steam. And one Hori, I think we've discussed before. I can't remember if you said you was going to dabble in Civ 7, February the 11th. Will you be there?
Is that also day one on Game Pass?
That does ring bells. I'm not 100% sure though.
Well, all of the other Civ games are on Game Pass, but I don't know if they're like got a deal or anything.
Maybe. I've only ever played it on Steam, so I don't know. I mean,
apparently it's not been confirmed whether it's going to be on Game Pass day one. So, which, as it's so soon, makes me think that it won't be.
It won't be. They would have said.
Civ seems like the kind of thing they would use to sell Game Pass subscriptions if it was going to be their day one.
Whether I'm there day one, I don't know. I would definitely at some point probably pick it up and play it. Like,
yep.
I played a lot of
you
Civ
in a few hours.
Civ 6, I played a fair bit, but not as much. But it was the tough thing with Civ 6 was it, in the grand scheme of things, wasn't massively long after Civ 5, and Civ 5 had loads of DLC. So it kind of was it was that issue of, oh, new game, less content. So people didn't really jump on it as much. Whereas I feel like it's been long enough now that maybe people will jump on it more. I mean, it's got a lot. It's got a lot of hype going into it. I know I've got a friend who's big into the Civ games, and he can't wait for it. So I can't wait to be Gandhi and launch a nuke on the world.
I think this time next month when we come to review it, it will score very well. I'm predicting high 80s. I'm predicting high 80s.
Does Civ have much of like a speedrunning community? I feel like that's the kind of game that a speedrunning community loves, like as Gandhi's speedrun taking over the world or some shit.
There
I feel
probably
like that'd be a
is
thing.
something of, because there, at least in Civ 5, there's like, I imagine it'll still be the same. There's like victory, different types of victory you can get, whether it's like military science.
Conditions.
Yeah. So there's probably some sort of like getting scientific victory in sub whatever turns. Like there'll be some sort of speed running, I imagine. Every game has speed running.
As a self-proclaimed mega nerd, just Civ seems like a nerd game to me.
It is like when me and my mates used to play Civ 5, it was just a lot of like who makes alliances with who's.
Shit.
Yeah, and like you'd make an alliance with one of my mates, and then next, like a few turns go by, and I'm like, hang on a second, their religion is just infiltrated everywhere, and I've been backlined by their religion. But yeah, it's one of those games that you can kind of just chill and play with friends sometimes.
Awesome.
Announcements, news, and updates. So, in general, fairly quiet. The big ongoing one, Switch 2, when is it coming out? We've had lots of
this Friday, apparently.
Exactly, but they also said that last Friday and the before. Seeing lots of reports, literally weekly on Reddit, X, Instagram, everywhere you look. There's going to be a Nintendo Direct this day, dropping this software. And obviously at CES, we had all the leaks of what the Switch 2 is actually going to look like. We don't actually know if it's called the Switch 2. We just assume.
I can't believe, by the way, that all of that stuff got leaked at CES. The Nintendo ninjas are slipping. Once upon a time, that stuff wouldn't have made it to the internet. I don't know what they're doing over there. They need to stop suing Power World or Pocket, whatever the fuck they're called. And they need to get their ninjas back out there. Because once upon a time, you did not see accessories for a Nintendo product before you knew that the product was coming out.
I mean,
which is craziness.
People, like the 3D models got leaked like months ago. So
yeah, because we saw the patent for the magnetic Joy-Cons rather than sliding on. We saw that a while back.
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
interesting to see all the
everyone's running with it being the Switch 2 and the logo just being terrible. I've seen that. It, it baffles me that they
It
would
checks
call
out.
it the Switch 2, though. Like,
I
I
just
feel
think,
like
what
they'll
else do you
just come up-
call it?
They don't know, but they don't
Because we've
normally
seen
do
it. It
two.
is a Switch.
Yeah, but like we had
What if
Wii
it's
and
the
then we had
Switch
Wii
3D?
U.
What if it's the Switch 3D? I'm just going back to like the DS times.
What if it's-
What versions did they do?
Well, what if it's the Switch Mag because they're using magnets? Or
That
something
would be
like,
a dope name.
like it's
Which
we had
I'm not
Wii,
against it. I'm
we
not
had
against
Wii,
it.
and then we had Wii U. So that's why I'm like, I feel like they'll come up with some
I agree.
weird extra
Rather
word.
like a
and-
Wii too. Yeah,
Yeah,
I know
they'll
what
come
you
up
mean.
with a differentiation instead of just a number. And Switch Mag goes hard.
I
That's
like
a
Switch
really
Mag.
cool
I like
name.
that. That's
I'll
pretty
make you a
good.
logo, Nintendo. I can work fast, I promise.
So a lot of the rumors are saying we're going to get the device in March. So we've only got a couple of months. But then that when do they put out the direct that announces this? Are they going to show games? Is there going to be a new 3D Mario day one like we had with Odyssey for the Switch? It's,
Do you reckon?
it's all up in the air at the minute.
Do you
Still.
reckon Nintendo are also delayed to work out when GTA 6 is coming out? Because they're like, it's pointless
No.
releasing a new console the same month GTA 6 is coming out.
The
Nah,
rumors are it's going to be before June. I mean, again,
Nintendo's
Well,
not
they
the
need to
sort
sell
of
the
person that would
Switch.
sue GTA because they're releasing the same time they are.
I don't think GTA will have that big of an impact on the Switch. I feel like if people who
No.
are buying a Switch are going to buy
Oh
a
yeah,
Switch
they're
regardless.
cozy gamers. They're not GTA gamers.
Another funny topic I'm seeing is, are they going to make the Switch 2 or Switch Mag
I like
OLED
it, we're
day
running with it.
one? Or are they going to do the classic Nintendo where they wait a couple of years and release an OLED model? Because I done the same with the normal Switch. I had the normal one pretty early on, eventually ended up switching to OLED. The difference is night and day. Are they going to try and make money and do that with the Switch Mag, or are they going to wait?
Nintendo are like impervious to any real criticism for stuff like that. So yeah, they probably will.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think they will do that. I would like to
Or-
believe that they don't.
Or best case scenario, they release both models at launch. They're like, we've got the Switch Mag and we've got the Switch Mag OLED for an extra $200.
We're fully running with that name,
Yeah.
aren't we?
Yeah, I fucking love
I
it.
just made that on the fly as well.
Yeah,
pretty
no,
proud of that.
that's cool. I like it.
I mean, yeah, they might take a page out of PlayStation's limited edition model in like 6 months to a year down the line. They launch like a NES color themed Switch.
Oh,
would be
it would
It's like-
sell
like,
so
'cause
fast.
The PlayStation one sold so fast. Like, I feel like you're dumb if you're not Xbox and Nintendo and think maybe we should do something similar.
Especially
surprised
when
Xbox
Nintendo
haven't.
has so many iconic colorways as well.
Yeah, like Xbox, we've talked about it in our group chat, but like I do think they should release a translucent.
We're on our knees for more
like,
translucent technology.
Everybody,
Yeah, bring it back.
either the classic transparent green or like the Xbox Crystal. Like just do an Xbox Series S Crystal or something.
Like, I know brands that aren't Nintendo, like there's third party ones, like the purple translucent Joy-Cons you can get, like the OG Game Boy. Like, why are they not doing that as an actual thing?
The minimalism that has swept through tech will never be forgiven by me.
Well, we'll return, I believe.
I hope so.
I really do hope so.
want over-designed wacky shit. I want to feel like it's the 80s and 90s.
I need to up my DualSense collection, so any translucent devices will be very much appreciated.
Hoovering them up.
Assassin's Creed Shadows has been pushed for the second time. It was originally supposed to come out in November, I believe. Got pushed to February. It's now been pushed back till the 20th of March. I think Ubisoft
close to GTA there.
I think
hype is in
Ubisoft.
the fucking
I like it.
mud with
I'm
this.
really excited for this game.
Oh.
So them delaying it doesn't bother me. I want it to be right, and I think Ubisoft are so on edge that they can't have another another flop or a negative headline that they're
No.
waiting for them to.
They're already there's already plenty of rumors about their future going around. So
Yeah.
I
Here's
did see
my
the
thing.
gameplay of the parkour in this one. They
Oh,
put
it's
out that.
smooth.
Yeah, it's the first time in a while I've been like, huh, they've actually done something that looks like an improvement on there.
Yeah, you can sort of chain together your jumps around buildings and stuff. It looks really
Yeah.
nice.
Here's my thing, okay? I completely agree with the idea of delay if the game's not ready.
Mm.
Delaying by a month or a month and a half, gonna change dick all. You're not gonna get anything meaningful done in a month and a half. So all you're gonna do in that situation is delay by another month and a half, which will, for some people, reflect negatively on the product. And then it's still not going to actually be perfectly ready when you launch it, which is then going to compound that, and it makes it worse. Anytime I see a game get delayed for like less than 3 months, I'm like, that is bad news. That is worse. I'd rather see a game get delayed for a year and go, fine, it's not ready. A year is actually enough time to make a lot of meaningful change. But it's not like Ubisoft are like this anti-crunch company.
Oh no,
If
they'll
they were
be on crunch at the moment.
Exactly. So if they were crunching, a month doesn't realistically give them much more time.
The,
You know
Because
what
it
I mean?
depends how close to finish it actually was.
well, yeah, I would
But
imagine.
they would just make them crunch harder. Let's not act like Ubisoft does Saints.
No.
They would just be like, oh, you were working 18 hours a day. You're now showering once every 3 days, and every other waking second, you're fixing things.
I imagine this is giving them, realistically, this will be giving them more time for the day one patch. Like, that's something that a month will make a difference on.
I just disagree with months less than months. Delays less than like 3 months.
I know
So I
what you
just
mean.
feel like all it does is in everyone's head, it's just like game delayed again. It's not ready yet, but they're not giving themselves enough time to actually fix what the problem is. The big people who don't understand anything are willing to take the delay on.
The issue will be the devs will say a month doesn't really give us much extra time, but then marketing will say, well, we can't, we're only delaying a month. Like, that's what you've got.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
if anything, it either gives them a bit more time for the day one patch to be right, or it helps smallen the gap between game launch and the patch that is going to fix things. Like, rather
But
than that being
that's
like
just not how games should be operating, and
no,
that's why the delay like that is so alarming. Like when I know it's not a great example when Cyberpunk got delayed for like another 6 months.
Yeah.
I was just like, that's fine, we'll wait. 6 months is enough time for them to maybe fix their problem.
Maybe.
Well, it didn't. It took them another 2 years, but that game
It's the thought
is
that counts.
now when you say Cyberpunk 2077 to people don't go, oh, they go, that game fucking rocks because they played it post patch 2.0.
Yeah, and then everyone also found out what caused all the issues, which was the QA company. But, like,
and also, I don't trust Ubisoft.
Well, no, that's
I
the
don't
other
think many
thing.
people do.
There's a reason the rumors are circulating that they're going to be selling. So
We'll have to wait and see. I'm a slut for Assassin's Creed. I've pre-ordered it, so I will be there. I'll be able to give you my feedback on April's episode. So, yeah, that's if it doesn't get. Yeah, hopefully that's if it doesn't get delayed again.
We will be playing GTA 6 before Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Oh God, don't say
well,
that.
Marvel Rivals Season 3 by the time.
Finally, Last of Us Season 2. We got a trailer and a date. I say a date, April 2025. Still no official date yet. I'm assuming you both saw the trailer. I feel like it was hard not to see the trailer.
Yeah, we discussed it last week, so I think you've exposed yourself for not being up to date, JL.
Whoops.
But yeah, no, it looks good. I'm excited for it. I've still not played the games because I bought a PlayStation purely to play Spider-Man, and that's still basically all I've played on it.
I mean, there's so many versions, mate. I'm sure you can pluck up the courage to download one of them.
Right. I've not played it or watched it.
How do I find the real The Last of Us 1?
The real, like in a vintage.
Yeah. Do I have to go buy a PS3 just to get the unique experience as it was initially intended?
Absolutely not. Get a remastered one downloaded. I can't wait. Waiting for a date. I'm pretty sure last time the episodes came out on a Monday.
I believe so. That sounds right.
So what we?
Yeah, no, it will be on a Monday because it's HBO and via their brand new show for us is always Sunday night, Monday morning.
Yeah, so it'll be either the 7th, 14th, 21st, 28th. We'll have to wait and see. I'm hoping not the 21st because I'll be in New York and I want to watch it.
Such an odd flex, isn't it? Such an I'll be in New York.
I'm actually hoping the Switch does come out in March because then I can have it on the plane to go to America and rinse whatever game comes out. Buzzy for Last of Us, scared for Caitlin Dever and the backlash she's going to get. I know you aren't. You two haven't played Last of Us 2. Laura Bailey got absolutely rinsed.
Oh, we're well aware of how Laura Bailey got treated in
Yeah.
The Last of Us 2.
I hope people have put that behind them now and grown a brain and aren't stupid idiots. But this is the internet, so it's probably not going to be the case.
Do you know where we exist?
Guys, it's fine because since then, Twitter has become a much more accepting and loving place, hasn't it?
Sorry, what's Twitter?
It's
I only
never
know
been
X
better.
now.
I only know X. I'm scared for the backlash. Excited for the series. Excited for you lot to see what happens.
I can't wait to see my favourite actor, Pedro Pascal, because he's going to be great and he's going to be in so many episodes.
What a handsome devil. No spoilers here. Absolutely. I'm not saying anything. I know you two haven't played it, but based on that,
if you don't know what happened in The Last of Us 2,
I mean, the game's been out for about
10
10 years now.
You
so-
are a whole level of chronically offline. I want to know how you found this podcast.
I want you to know, I don't really know what happens in the Last of Us games.
You know, you might not know, but you know.
I thankfully played the second one without knowing, so it made the experience a lot better. And I think that's going. I'm intrigued to see how they're going to portray it. I'm referring to it as it because I don't want to give any spoilers just in case people haven't seen it.
That's valid. That's valid.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting for sure.
I don't know how they're going to do it. How many episodes the season will be? Except I'm not. I won't go into it any further, but I am very excited.
Yeah.
What have we been playing? I want to skip Marvel Rivals because we're going to be coming on to that for the topic of the pod. Have you two been playing anything else that isn't Marvel Rivals?
Yeah, I've been a bit of a nerd. So I've been playing my TCG game still. But so bit of lore here. So the Sidemen and friends have created a new YouTube channel called Big Wedge Golf Channel. I greatly enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. They're just boys being boys. It's proper old school YouTube vibes. So one of my favourite things at the minute is to binge their videos while I play the most recent EA Sports PGA Tour that's available via Game Pass. So I just sit here playing golf, watching golf, just absolutely so zen without having to go outside
It's such
or
a
get
chill out
angry.
game,
I'm shit at golf. So that's kind of what I tend to do. Is I tend to have a sports game that's on rotation, and just at the minute it's a golf game. About 6 weeks ago it was Madden. Now it's golf. It'll be fucking EAFC 25 once that's on Game Pass, I'm sure.
I hope it won't be.
I will not be paying for it, but once it's
I'm
on Game Pass,
so glad I've not gone back to that game.
Maybe Mario Tennis in April.
Whoa.
Maybe.
Hori, have you playing anything that's not?
I mean, around Christmas, like beginning of the month, I was still playing a bit of Brighter Shores. They had a Christmas event on, which was like there was random drops every so much like XP you earn of Christmas hats. So there was like 20 to collect. I did not collect them all, unfortunately, but yeah, played a bit of that around Christmas, and then other than that, it has been Marvel Rivals.
Solely Marvel Rivals.
My entire life.
Yeah, you've been degenerate on it, haven't you?
I can't help that I'm better than you lot.
No. You've been a degenerate. You've been putting messages in the chat at 10 to 5 in the morning going, I finally ranked up.
Finally hit this rank.
Degenerate.
As we're all 4 hours deep.
I can't hear you in bronze.
Yeah. I'm getting up for work and you've been asleep for 20 minutes having finally hit gold 1. Fucking nerd.
It's a hard life.
I mean, it's valid. It is a fabulous game that we're going to get onto. Myself, Con's going to agree on me for this one. I have been playing Infamous Second Son, in which there will be a Platinum Trophy video coming out at some point.
Well, we're going to have to bleep that out. You can't say slurs on the podcast, Josh.
That will be coming out. I promise.
Let's have a little bet, Hori. Do we get Assassin's Creed Shadows, GTA 6, the Switch 2, or Josh's video first?
I think we get the Switch 2 announced first.
Oh, well, that could be this week.
Exactly. And I know for a fact your video is not going to be ready this week.
But yeah, that will be coming. I got Black Myth Wukong for Christmas.
I've seen you putting some hours in that. What do we think?
it's tough. I've played 2 hours maybe. I'm still on chapter 1. So unlike Elden Ring, this is a lot more linear, and there's less exploration to do due to the chapters. So I'm stuck at a boss where I feel really underleveled and I can't beat him. I've battled him about 20 times. But unlike Elden Ring, where you can just go off, get stronger and come back, you can go back like the way you came, farm to get XP, but it's very limited in that. So you're just doing the same thing over and over again at the minute to try and farm XP.
So
Grueling this boss.
It's a lot more headbutt a brick wall.
Yeah. I can tell it's going to be one of them games like a Souls game where once you've defeated the boss, the level of satisfaction is going to be outrageous. But I'm enjoying the game. It looks great. Excited to try it on a new monitor with all the bells and whistles. But yeah, really enjoying it. No wonder it was such a highly rated game from last year. And now you two can reel off all your thoughts. I know you've been waiting. The topic of today's pod will be our thoughts, feelings, expectations, and all things Marvel Rivals. So who wants to kick us off with that one? That's so vague. You can go in any direction you want.
So when Marvel Rivals got announced, we were excited, but we were also extremely skeptical, I think is fair to say.
Yeah, I was always very vocal on that. I wasn't sure if they'd pull off balancing and it would live and die by that.
And then we got even more nerves about the balancing when they said there's going to be 30 characters at launch. I don't think we can undersell how kind of blown away we've been by how... Like, put it this way. I don't play multiplayer games by myself for hours at a time. The day that game came out, I breezed through a 12-hour stream like it was nothing. That's insanity. That I was able to
quick when you're playing Marvel Rivals.
Like that, I don't do that. I'm not someone who can play a multiplayer game, especially by myself, for more than realistically 2.5, 3 hours. To the fact that on day one I managed to pull off 12 hours without any problems is insanity. So a lot of fun. The characters are great. The way they're planning their content is really solid. And it's managed to kind of, a little bit more by luck than judgment, but hey, everyone needs a helping hand. It's managed to slot right in when a lot of big COD streamers are getting fed up with COD because of the way their development's being handled. And there's a bit of overlap between old Overwatch 2 players and COD players via Tim the Tapmans and people like that, who've then gone over and give it a go, and boom, recipe for success. They peaked on their launch at like 460,000 on Steam, and then for the launch of season 1, they got up to I think 620,000.
Yeah, the player retention's been
that's insanity. I think I read somewhere every day the lowest their peak got was within 10% of their day one peak. That's the player retention we're talking about.
I think the advantage they've also had is, like, we've joked when it was announced that I was like, oh, this is just Overwatch, but with a Marvel skin. And don't get me wrong, it is very much Overwatch. Like, it has its own mechanics and characters play differently and whatnot, but it is simply Overwatch. And I think the fact that, like you said, they've capitalized unknowingly off COD being in a pretty bad dip at the moment. Overwatch is just not doing well in general.
That's what I'm waiting to say.
Yeah. So, like, you've got all the Overwatch players who have kind of still been playing Overwatch, and kind of, as players do, like COD players, they keep playing their game because they want to enjoy that game, but they're not being, like, given a good game to play. They've all just been like, oh, we can take all these skills we know and just go play a new game with all these new characters to learn.
That has dopamine in it still, yeah.
I feel like it has come out at the perfect time. Obviously, COD's not performing well. Fortnite had its, like, resurgence of OG map and stuff coming back. But even then, I feel I feel like it's been and gone. I played it for a few days. I'm not hearing people talking about it anymore. And then multiplayer in general, Deadlock hype died down. I just feel like it's like the only game, obviously apart from Warzone, that is out there in the minute, and a lot of people.
struggling.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't see anyone talking about playing a multiplayer game right now that isn't Marvel Rivals. And don't get
Literally,
me wrong,
yeah.
I understand, like, with the way my feed is set up to be a lot of
Hmm.
film, TV, comic book, and video games, the algorithm's probably going, oh, you're going to want to see all of this crap about Marvel Rivals. I get that. But I'm not seeing it. Like, I'm seeing more about Overwatch than I ever used to. I don't know if, like, people are talking more about Overwatch because of Marvel
No,
Rivals
Yeah,
or
I
not.
think
getting the
so.
same.
But
Yeah.
but it's insanity. I wanted this game to be good. I was willing this game to be good, but even I wasn't ready for how much I was going to end up enjoying it. And this is the first real like hero shooter I've played of like the Team Fortress 2 Overwatch kind of lineage. This is the first one that I've really played. But I fucking love it. And being a massive Marvel fan myself, it's actually really nice to see people going, "Who is this character? They're fucking awesome."
Yeah.
Like
It's-
that's just fun, man.
And I mean, going on to like the balancing, them having 33 characters, it was funny how I would say in the first week, everyone was like, oh my God, these characters are overpowered. These characters are rubbish. And then like another week goes by and everyone's like, oh, they're not actually that strong. And oh, these characters are actually really good. We just didn't know how to play them. And
I
the
was seeing a
devs,
new tier list every 2
Yeah.
days of who's
Yeah.
OP.
Literally.
the thing that I think has helped as well with the balancing is like, from what I've seen, whenever the devs have been playing and showed up with playing against creators or whatnot, the devs apparently for that season
So
0
good.
were all in top 500.
The devs are so good at the game.
Yeah, and they were going into streams on the first week being like, "Oh no, you're playing Wolverine wrong. You're not using his kit properly. Here, try these things." Some people are like, whatever. But then that's now actually been how Wolverine is played. So like the devs know all the characters really well, which I think is needed when you're balancing a game like this. If the devs don't know how these play at like a high level, they're not going to be able to balance it very well. They're just going to listen to the community too much, which we've seen. Like they've not jumped on like over tuning anything.
They have not overreacted to a single thing, which
No.
bearing in mind this game had a bigger launch than I think even they could have reasonably expected. To not overreact to complaints about things because they know that people will find it out in their own time,
Yeah,
I think is really impressive. Like, to fight against that, give us roll queue, give us roll queue, give us roll queue,
yeah.
has been really impressive. And they
That's
keep
died off now.
reiterating, it's like, that's not happening, just play the game.
I feel like the first week people were sort of asking for it, but then it's died off. Because I
Yeah.
will say, in at least now, like I've played a lot more ranked than you guys.
Mm-hmm. No.
And to be fair, like you're saying, this is the most you've played of a multiplayer game in a while. This is the most like solo queue I've been willing to do in a long time. Which
You
shows
have
how
been
much,
putting
like,
in grind.
I don't think I've put this much solo queue on ranked since like Valorant when we were like in the high days of that. But like 222, like the role queue, like team comp that people see from Overwatch, or purely going off what they know from Overwatch, and like, oh, 222 is what works. People will slot into that in ranked as you get a higher level. Like people just will fill. And there are games when that doesn't happen, you'll be like 1-3-2 and stuff, and it still works. Like if you have good players, you can make other comps work. And if they were forcing 222, then we wouldn't get to see any of that. So I'm glad they're not like overreacting to stuff. The planned amount of content they're planning to release is breakneck pace.
It's insane. We're going to
Like,
have, what?
8
So it's
heroes
gonna
a
be
year.
8 heroes a year, but this year's double that. Not double
No.
that, sorry, more than that because we've got an extra 2.
No.
In the first battle pass, we've got an extra 2.
I don't know if it will change.
So here's my logic. They're saying there's going to be one at the beginning of every season and one at the midpoint of
Yeah.
every season. But
Oh,
this
so
being
maybe
the
we'll get
first
an extra
season
2
they've
then,
done.
yeah.
So I think
True.
it'll be 10 this year. So I
True.
think going
And then
into
8 going
year
forward.
2,
It'll
we'll
go
be
to
at
8.
43.
Yeah. And also like I'm gonna guess because they've done 3 maps. One is like a separate game mode. I somehow think each season will have 1 map for general and then 1 game mode map.
Yeah,
Even
probably.
that's like crazy. Like for example, for comparison, Overwatch, their cycle is their seasons are 9 weeks, if I remember correctly, and each season will either get a new map, then the next season will be a hero, then the season after that is a map. They alternate. So in a year, probably about 3 heroes a year. What you've got to then think is there is 3 different roles. If you're lucky that they stay in like the same pattern of like they do, say, tank, DPS, healer, which they don't always do in Overwatch, you might get 1 new hero a year for your role. In Marvel Rivals, potentially we're going to get like 2 new heroes per role.
You'd expect 2, if not 3, per year.
So like already, all the Overwatch players now playing this are like, oh my god, we have been starved for years.
And this is the beauty of it, because all this additional content, you were like, oh, well, they're going to run out of ideas. No, you're not. You've got one of the biggest libraries of IP the world has ever known sat right there. And
like over
they've already shown
characters.
More than that. So many. It's ridiculous. You're never going to run out of ideas. They've already shown they're not afraid to get some wacky with some of the characters they choose. Big chillin'. Maps and modes, it's a multiverse game, so you can have fun with that. Events, you're always going to have a TV show or a film or whatever going on that you can coincide with. They've already done a little like tie-in with some of the other games, the mobile games. If there's nothing going on, you can just go, right, we'll just do a massive tie-in.
It's just
with them,
never-ending content.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they've already shown that they're willing to support competitive because ranked at launch, which isn't a given anymore.
No.
And a tournament with a prize pool supplied by them at launch.
That was open.
Completely open bracket, yeah.
Yeah, which is what OG well, no. OG Overwatch never had it because OG Overwatch launched around the time CDL was starting. So like they launched Overwatch.
WL was a year before CDL? Was it 1 year of AWL before CDL?
So they launched Overwatch already knowing they were doing Franchise League, which in my opinion hurt that esport because you got no like base level, just kind of open, nothing started to grow then franchise. They just were like forced into franchise. So like this having open brackets, I think is potentially really good for the future of this.
Yeah. Like, you know, I said to you, the one thing I could never imagine was there being a competitive scene in a Marvel IP game. Because what, they're going to do a massive fucking esports event and they're going to be like, oh, and there goes Captain America fucking destroying Iron Man. Like, I couldn't imagine that. But they went, no, that's exactly what we're going to fucking do.
I can't wait for the Marvel Rivals World Championship finals. Rather than a concert, they just play Avengers Doomsday to the crowd.
Yeah. The red carpet event for Doomsday or Secret Wars as part of the preamble for
There's just a LAN set up.
Yeah, absolutely. They're gonna give us a part of the Avengers campus at Disney World, which is just a LAN room for people to go play Marvel Rivals.
Imagine. I think a hot topic in video games nowadays, microtransactions. You can quote me, but the battle pass is fantastic value.
I would
How many
say
skins was
nowadays,
it?
yes. It's
How
10
many
skins.
For £9.
Yeah, I think 2 of them are. I think there's 2 that are the free ones.
Yes.
And then the other 8 are the like premium battle pass.
So either way, you're getting. It's less than £1 per skin.
Yeah.
Which nowadays in 2025, where video games are, that is cheap.
Well, yeah, you think like a Vandal skin in Valorant's like can be 20 quid just for the Vandal.
I saw someone tweet, it was like, if you suggested to the Valorant executives this quality of skins in a £10 battle pass, you would be taken out back and executed.
Yeah, that's not how Riot works.
No.
Yeah, no, and that's the other thing. Like the quality of skins we've got, even in the Season 0 one, where it's like half the price because it's half the size, like they're giving us some amazing skins.
So good.
The ones that they are like then in the store, most of them aren't crazy expensive.
No. They're
like,
reasonable.
Yeah, they're all reasonable. Obviously, the only level of FOMO, like they've done their best to avoid it. Obviously, there are limited skins in the shops, like the Christmas ones. That's obviously some FOMO, and some people don't like that games are using FOMO to make money. But I get
It's
it
the
with,
least FOMO of any
yeah.
game of this
Also,
kind.
like as long as you buy the battle pass, you can finish it at any point.
Yeah, I love that feature. I think that's fantastic.
This is what I'm just going to say this quickly. Shout out Halo Infinite. They did
Yeah.
that before anyone else, and that is the only thing that they need to be given a lot of love for, because they did it. Then
Helldivers did it.
Marines, Helldivers did a similar system, and now Marvel Rivals doing it is phenomenal. I know right now, if fucking another massive game comes out that I don't want to miss, or I need to stream for whatever, a story game, and I don't play Marvel Rivals, I know I've already bought the Battle Pass. I know I can go back in 4 months' time and jump straight back in and finish my Battle Pass. I'm not missed out on anything.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. It's like, all you have to do is hop on. You could buy the battle pass even if we're not playing it regularly at the time, and we get it benefits later.
The only FOMO is like the events that are always going on, but that is just so that you have something to do if you're playing the game.
Yeah, it is what it is, isn't it? If you miss that, then
there's no major skins as part of that. Oh no, there's a Thor skin, but still, who gives a fuck?
That's all free, so it's like
exactly.
There's a who skin.
The Thor.
4.
I'm sorry, I couldn't resist.
Which is just really cool. I'm loving it, and also I love the galleries and the comics.
Yeah, that is cool.
As someone who enjoys comics, them going, we're going to make a seasonal collection system that is based around doing comic book style art is fucking awesome.
The only thing I wish they would maybe done differently with those is obviously you unlock the panels. I wish it actually been like a comic page rather than you open the picture and just get a wall of text.
I do agree with that.
It would have been cool if it was like you actually get comic pages. And I think more people would then actually have paid more attention and read it, because I guarantee a lot of people don't read them.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that would have been really, really cool.
I'll say, like, with the skins as well, a lot of these games, like, COD's got wackier, but, like, X Defiant was pretty poor on their kind of how creative they were with their skins and stuff.
Some way of saying it, yeah.
Obviously, we know this game's an Unreal. Like, they are pushing Unreal, and obviously you can see things that Fortnite have obviously established, because we know they have ideas, go to the engine devs, get the devs to make it work, and they push the engine. They are now utilizing like some of the way they do the skins, the Strange Portal, something that blew loads of people's mind on the new Doom Eternal map, the free-for-all map. There is a magical staircase that if you go down, you come back down.
Oh, it's like a never ending, yeah.
But
it's not quite seamless, but it's fucking good.
Yeah, if you actually pay attention, you can see they've essentially just done a strange portal halfway on the stairs, but it's not very obviously it's hidden. But like stuff like that, and then map design has been the amount of detail in these maps, like that Sanctorum, all the artifacts are hidden. There's like bats and dogs there. There's so many cool little like Easter eggs that they're hiding in the maps as well that you don't need. Like most of these games wouldn't normally do, but like they're putting in the work.
I have
there's
zero
a lot of love for the IP.
Yeah,
there's a lot of love for the IP, and I really hope that stays. Map complaints, I agree. There's very few of them for me right now. I do think that is going to become an issue as the skill ceiling becomes realised. I think this game has an incredibly high skill ceiling that not many people are realising yet. I think once the average player gets 10, 15, 20% better, we might notice some cracks in the maps. But I'm not sure. And that's just me being a bit of a pessimist, because how often a game's perfectly designed?
It's like, obviously they've got destructibility in certain parts of the map, so that adds a whole level to it that is obviously makes it interesting in working out what the balancing on maps is. There'll become a pool of maps that people like the pros like to play. It wouldn't surprise me if they're down the line, when there's so many maps, like they do a ranked pool of maps. Like these are the set ones for ranked.
Like CS, yeah.
Based on what they seem to be suggesting their seasonal content's going to be, which is going to be a couple of maps a couple of characters, stuff
Mm.
like that. In a year's time, there's going to be so many maps that if there are some that have problems with them that make them not competitively viable, like you say, they can push them out of the map pool.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. I'm loving it. My only complaint right now is like some of the A-listers we don't have in the game yet, but that
Yeah.
just means they're going to have a massive pullback. Whereas if we're just playing this game sporadically in 8-9 months' time, and they go, "Oh, Gambit's coming," I'm going to be like, "Right."
Yeah, that's something we've discussed, which is there's obviously leaks happening.
Yeah.
Everyone thought season 1 was going to have Ultron and Blade. Then it started getting leaked about Fantastic Four, and people are like, well, they're not going to add 6 characters. Like 4 is even a lot. And then they're like, oh yeah, here's 4 new characters this season. To then which people are like, okay, so Blade and Ultron's next season then, presuming that they are done and like they're coming. Then there's all these, there's like enough leaked characters for 2 years worth of content, and it doesn't even feature all like the A-lister X-Men or like A-list, like people are like, wait, what? There's so many characters, and people are starting to realize like, oh, this is like years of content that they've got so much time to work on and balance and bring into the game.
Major style. It's craziness. I'm loving the game. I hope I continue to love the game. I just need Horrid to stop costing my ranked game so I can get out of bronze.
As someone who has already got to gold in season 1 after being plat in season 0, and you're stuck in bronze, that's a
if there's
skill
any
issue.
listeners that are good DPS, please hit up Con before he
For
loses
the
composure.
love of God.
It's a skill
If I
issue.
see one more person insta-lock Hawkeye to just aim off the map, I'm going to lose my mind.
Yeah, I'm loving it. I want to get back into ranked. I've not played since Saturday night. Obviously, the rank reset, so I'm back down to low bronze, silver
Want some
3. I
games
can't
up.
remember what way around it is, but
It'll be
Very much looking
bronze,
forward to
'cause
it.
the reset was 7.
Which was
yeah, it's quite a
harsh.
heavy reset. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the next thing I wanted to go are general gaming plans for 2025. This could be, is there anything you want to do differently gaming wise than you did last year? What are you looking forward to this year? Just wanted to get your general thoughts on how you think you'll be gaming in 2025.
I mean, hopefully continue to be lots of Marvel Rivals for me. I imagine I will dabble in and out on Brighter Shores, because I have enjoyed that, and as that game's developed and has more content, it's the sort of game where you can just jump back in and out. I also do really want to try and get a wheel and get back into sim racing.
Yeah, I remember you saying that last year and you never...
I never got
around to it, yeah.
the spare money to buy a wheel and stuff, but like that is something I want to try and do this year, because I did enjoy it. It's just you kind of hit a bit of a ceiling on controller that I couldn't get past. So yeah, that'll probably be what I'm focused on this year.
I've got a new PC in the works, which I'm excited for.
Very exciting.
This bad boy can pump out so many frames. I'm
How's that feel
hoping to
like?
play. I'm hoping to play a lot of Marvel Rivals. I'm still playing a lot of TCG. I want to try some more sim games. I never thought sim games would be a lot of fun, but having played TCG, I'm
Boys
like,
on Farm Sim?
I need to see what else is out there. Well, like I know, like Power Wash Simulator's got a lot of fun DLCs.
There's a
like the
Wallace
random
and
Wallace,
Gromit.
and, yeah, exactly. So I'm like, that could be fun to do. I have promised a number of people a season 2 of Hardcore Minecraft, which at some point I probably need to pay the
I'd
price for.
low-key be so down for some Minecraft.
And we've
Bit of
discussed many
Cobblemon.
times about doing a co-op Minecraft server that ends in
Yes.
like a we play it until we're bored, and then we have a big battle to decide who the winner is, which I think would be a lot of fun.
Jokes aside, I'm so down for some Minecraft. I've not played for ages.
I do want to play a bit more Power. I'm getting the itch for Power. And I might be getting the itch for sandbox games. I don't know. I want to get more out of my PS5. I want to play more story games. The main thing is I want to continue to work on getting less frustrated at games.
You wouldn't be the Connors we know if you didn't get frustrated at
Here's
games.
the thing. Every time I say to you guys, I'm going to try and not get as angry, because I know it's not good for me. I know it's not nice. You guys actively go out of your way to wind me up.
Whoa. We don't
No,
actively.
Yes, you fucking
I did the
do.
other day. I did the other day.
okay.
No,
Well,
but here's the
I'll
thing.
say that.
After that, you were like, "Oh, you were so angry." I was like, "No, that's part of me working on chilling." I was literally having a great time. I was watching my show on my other monitor playing my game. I wasn't even remotely annoyed, but I was like, I just need to take a step back before I get annoyed. So it's difficult, man. I'm a passionate person, and I'm a competitor.
I wish I was still as passionate about ranked as you are, but unfortunately, League and Overwatch has beat that out of me. Like, I have no faith in teammates anymore, so I don't get angry at them.
I feel that about Valorant.
Yeah.
After peaking so high and then realizing.
Oh, did you know
taking a
six?
taking
That's going to be me with Marvel Rivals. Do you know I was plat?
Taking a 6-month break and then realizing that I couldn't get out of plat. It was a dagger, and I just realized it's not that deep. Like, I don't need to get so stressed out about losing a game.
Do you know what I think really reset me on a lot of it? With Deadlock, not Deadlock. We'll get to Deadlock. With X
You love that
Defiant.
game.
With X Defiant, I was fucking mint at that game. Like, that was genuinely my game for first-person shooters. And the game died. You boys didn't enjoy it. I'm like, right, this isn't a game I'm going to play by myself. Guess it's done. Then they announced they're fucking shutting the servers down. And unfortunately, I was getting to the point where I'm like, right, I'm over the hill now. I'm just going to continue to get worse at games. It's fine. And that game gave me an oh wait moment. I was like, are we back?
Am I back?
Yeah. And then and that kind of reinvigorated this need to want to win as much as possible. And then we played Deadlock, and it brought out the worst in me that I genuinely had a fucking existential crisis. I was like, right, okay, I need to work on anger here. I'm not an angry person. I know you boys like to joke that I am. I'm inherently not actually that angry a person. I'm a pretty chill person. But I'm aware that games sometimes bring out an angry side of me, and I don't like it as much as
it's one
other
of
people
the
don't like it.
exact reasons I'm glad I stopped playing FIFA, because playing Ultimate Team Champs at the weekend literally like made me a different person. Like, Han called me out on it one night. She was like, "You need to stop swearing so loud. The windows are open." And like, it's when people make comments, like in our Discord, we'd all be so angry because we'd all be playing champs at the same time. It makes you realize, like, it's literally a game. Why are we getting this angry? And then it's not even just when you're playing. You come off of, I've got 10 wins.
Yeah,
I
it
need
ruins the
3
rest of your
more to get the
day.
rank. It's literally a game of football. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I'm glad I've got rid of that. I don't really get that angry anymore unless someone's throwing in a game. Like, there's been a few Rivals games where people have dropped stinkers.
I think Marvel Rivals actually helped me with that though, because I'm enjoying the game even when it's going wrong. Like, even when we're getting costed, I'm still having a decent amount of fun. So I'm like, okay, they were shit, but hopefully the next one won't be shit. Run it back.
Yeah,
and maybe that'll dissipate, but I hope it doesn't, because it's been a long time since I've been able to lose at a game this much and have fun.
I think the nice thing with Marvel Rivals is, like, I can go on a 8-loss streak in ranked, be kind of in the mud a little bit. You go play quick play, and you'll just dominate the other team because quick play's not got a very strict matchmaking. And I'm just like, oh, if I'm annoyed, I can just go have fun in quick play, reset myself, and go back to ranked like the next day or something.
Absolutely. What about you, Josh?
Yeah, myself, I think what I've been really bad of the last couple of years is saying that I'm going to tackle my backlog, and then when a new game comes out, I buy it day one, and the backlog gets tossed aside. So far from all the announcements of games that are coming out, so we got GTA potentially later this year, Assassin's Creed until March. Before Assassin's Creed in March, to my knowledge, there's not an abundance of games coming out that I'm too interested in. So I've got 3 months to tackle my backlog. So this year I want to do a better job of going through older games rather than just buying new games. I've got lots of CEX credit built up, so I'll be buying games on disc, playing them, trading them in, doing that cycle. I want to play more single player games. Obviously, fit self-promotion, I will be making more platinum trophy videos. I will be doing it. I need you two to hold me accountable. I've got my Elgato all set up now.
Black Myth,
not to
there
put
is
any pressure
absolutely
on you,
not a
Josh,
chance.
but since the beginning of the NFL season, I've been doing 3 YouTube videos a week.
Valid.
And the podcast.
Platinum videos are hard because if it's a 30-hour game and I need to play the whole 30-hour game and then edited it. Like I've still not got the platinum yet for Infamous. I've finished the
You
story.
chose the
I'm
content,
doing.
buddy.
Yeah, it's content that I love. I consume it every day. There's so many people I watch make platinum content. I enjoy platinum hunting. It's just a time-consuming thing. It's just one. It is what it is. So I'll get around to it eventually.
No one's more excited for these videos than me. I'm excited for these
Cool,
videos.
that's some gas. I love that.
Question is, do I make a video before Josh makes a video?
Oh, I would love to see a
that'd be
horizontal
so
video.
funny.
I'd do naughty things for that.
Little horizontal photography video with some
Oh,
lo-fi.
stop it! I would be there.
That's a meditative video if ever I'd heard one.
Right, boys, it is time. We discussed. We had the Christmas / Game Wars quiz where we covered all of everything that happened last year. Con 1 2024. Obviously, we started it fairly late. There was only 4 or 5 quizzes, I want to say.
I still won pretty comfortably. It wasn't that close.
It's now 2025. A podcast a month.
In season 0 of Marvel Rivals.
A podcast a month. That's 12 quizzes.
True.
This year,
It's
I
quick
will be
maths.
keeping scores officially of who's doing
And
what.
stricter rules.
Each month it will range 5 to 10 questions. This month is going to be 5, and it is a Marvel Rivals quiz.
Oh, this is unfair.
Josh, depending on the questions you've chosen here, Hori might be cooked.
Some of them, I think you could go 5 for 5. I didn't want a hard start to the year because that would just be a bit depressing.
It's not necessarily a hard start. It's just a biased start to the year.
He says that like I've gone 5 for 5 regularly. Hey, Hori, you've got more hours than me in Marvel Rivals. You were plat in season 0.
Yeah.
So I thought it's Marvel Rivals quiz. It's so hot at the minute. People can join in the comments, get involved, let us know how many you get out of 5. Hori and Con, I think you could get 5, 4 minimum. We've been playing the game so much that I think you should be able to get it. So without further ado, question 1. What date did Marvel Rivals release?
I know. Look in.
Oh, God, I don't know. I didn't pay attention to that.
Oh, wait, shit. Have I got myself wrong here? Oh, I'm second guessing myself.
I'm going to be a lot shorter as well. I watched last month's quiz. And we took too long for some questions, so I'm going to...
I have a date.
Okay, Con's more confident, so Hori, you're going to hit me first.
November 28th.
6th of December.
So Hori, we had 28th of November, Con 6th of December. I can confirm it was the 6th of December.
I knew it was like that end of the November, start of December, but I couldn't remember which. But yeah. I'm terrible with dates in life in general, so that was never going to happen.
I thought it was such a big day, and I knew Con booked it off work to stream it, so I thought he could get this, but will Hori know?
Yeah.
Right, question 2. Due to various memes, ease of use, and in-game events, Jeff the Landshark has the highest pick rate over both PC and console. But who is the second most picked hero across all platforms?
Is that just in casual play, not ranked?
Yes.
Okay.
Second most picked.
For PC.
I was looking at this website earlier today, but I was
casual.
looking at ranked, not casual. Fuck. So I knew Jeff was first. Who was second?
I have an
Jeff's
answer.
first by like a landslide.
Yeah, he's at
Not
like
the land shark, a
60%,
landslide.
isn't he?
In casual, it's like 41%. Second place is like 19.
I've got a guess. I'm not confident with it, but I think they're top 5.
Okay, so Con's got an answer. Hori, can I push you for an answer?
Yeah, I've got my answer.
Right, Con, you can go first.
Lunar Snow.
And Hori?
Cloak and Dagger.
I can confirm. Neither of you got it right.
Is it Mantis?
Is it a tank?
The second most picked player with 19.4%, I believe it was, Venom.
Really?
I nearly said Venom.
Yep.
I knew it was between a tank or a healer.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so Jeff's first with like 40% or something crazy.
Yeah, he's
second place,
incredibly
Venom.
popular.
I know like the top 10 are all tanks and healers.
And
Skewed slightly, but
a bonus point that you won't actually get a point, it's just street cred. Who is the least picked character?
Black Widow.
Yeah, Black Widow.
Gotta be.
Storm.
Really? Oh, wait, this is season 0 only. They've not updated it since season 1.
True. That's
Storm
true.
will not be bottom anymore since her
No.
buff.
So you have 0 points on that one.
Right, I'm still up 1 now.
Hold that, Harry. Right, question 3. Black Panther and Magic have a team-up ability, but what does it do?
Oh, okay, I've got this. Lock in.
I've
So
never
confident.
played.
And I'm going to be a stickler if Hori guesses but gets it a little bit wrong. I'm going to be a dick.
I am. We spoke about this briefly at the end of the last quiz. I'm going to be a lot more score on answers this year because I gave a lot of
picture the
free
icon.
answers away last year.
The funny thing is, I can picture the icon, but I've never looked at it because I don't play either of those characters. I think I have a guess.
Well, Hori will go first because Con's very confident with his answer.
It gives Black Panther a blink ability.
It gives Black Panther the ability to retrace his steps via a portal. I believe it's like 2 seconds.
Oh, that's quite an in-depth answer as well. I like that. So Magic, it actually gives Psylocke the same ability.
It does.
Opens a portal in which you go backwards a few seconds at a time and grant a slight health boost. So Con will give you the correct answer for that.
I know the picture is like a little portal.
Yeah, it's like a little portal. You press C and bang, away you go.
I thought you would work out that it's like Magic's teleport ability, which is why I was going to be a dick, because I know that it doesn't allow you to go forward, you go backwards.
Yeah.
The reason I picked that one for the question is I know none of us play any of those 3 characters.
No.
And secondly, at first, I didn't even realize they had a power up. I knew Psylocke and Magic had it. I did not know Black Panther had it. So when I saw that, I thought, what? They have a team up ability? So Con got the point for that one. He's currently 2-0 on the quiz. Question 4. Which hero is at the very bottom left of the character selection screen?
If you have all of them?
Yep. So like when you go into a game and there's sort of like the curved banner with all the characters, who is at the very bottom of the point?
Okay. Are we including season 1?
Yep.
Okay, I have an answer.
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay, I have an answer.
I have my answer then.
I don't think it's changed.
It has.
It's changed for season 1.
Okay, season 0.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm assuming now it's the new healer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, it's gonna be.
Okay, so season 0.
I have an answer.
Who is at the very bottom left of the character selection screen?
I also have an answer.
Hori, go first, please.
Loki.
I think it's Adam Warlock.
Adam Warlock.
Yes, I think it's one of
Can
them
confirm
too.
one of you was correct.
Yeah, it's one of them too.
I think Warlock might be the middle.
Adam Warlock is the correct answer.
Oh, fucking get in!
It's
I spent
those
so
two on
much
the
time
bottom.
down there in them healers. I know
is
them guts.
Sue Storm?
She's on a
it
new
is
row.
surprising that
She's now the lower row.
she's got an extra row because Adam Warlock was bottom left by himself. There's like 2 gaps next to him that were free. So I in my head, I didn't check that she was going to be like to the right of him. But if they made a whole new,
Oh, they might have rearranged it slightly. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they've rearranged.
but yeah, Adam Warlock is correct. So Con is 3-0 on the quiz.
Once again, I'm a tank man.
And question 5, a fairly easy one. I think you should both get. So Hori, some morale for the last question of the first quiz of 2025. Whose voice line for their ultimate is "This is real firepower"?
Oh, he doesn't know that.
Yeah, I do.
Whose voice line for their ultimate
got it.
ability is "This is real firepower"?
I've got it.
Right, you can both go for this one at the same time, so no one steals the answer. 3, 2, 1.
Star-Lord.
Rocket Raccoon.
Oh.
It's Rocket.
So Hori
What's
has locked in
Star-Lord. Legendary!
Con, yeah, no,
you are
right.
correct.
Yeah.
Rocket Raccoon. This is real firepower.
Because he gives you the boost that allows everyone to like not reload or whatever the fuck it is.
I thought that was one. When I first saw it, I thought, who is that? And then I clocked. But I'm afraid to say, Hori, we're starting the year with a 4 out of 5 for Con and a 0 out of 5 for yourself. Is that going to be?
Starts with me, God.
You might know more knowledge, Con, about Marvel Rivals,
Ben
but
heard the
Hori's
game.
the higher rank.
He didn't even have any softball questions for me that are like just Marvel questions hidden as Marvel Rival questions.
Oh no, these were pure Marvel Rivals questions.
Yeah,
So I will
unfortunately,
be
I'm a
making a
fucking nerd.
note of this.
I lock in Groot and look at nothing else. That's my life.
So
press
I
Alt,
originally
slap
was going to
branches.
do who's at the very top of the point of the character selection screen, and do you know the answer to that?
Oh, do I
yes.
know the answer to that?
Who's at the highest point of the character selection?
Like top right, yeah.
Yeah.
I have an answer for that.
Oh, I know who it is. It's
Go on.
Hulk.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was Penny. Is she the one
No.
below that then?
She's a row
Yeah.
down.
Hulk is great, and the reason I was hesitant, I
because
was
it's
like,
Bruce's picture as well.
Hori
It's not-
plays Hulk sometimes.
Yeah.
So I thought, and I know none of us like main Adam Warlock, so I thought I'll probably go for that one instead. But I will make a record of this. I'll be recording all the quiz answers on YouTube. Let us know how many you got right out of 5 below. Did you beat Hori?
I
Even
look
if you only got
forward to
one
the,
right, it's not very
I
hard.
look forward
Did you
to
get any question right and beat Hori?
I look forward to the Civ 7 questions in February.
But yeah, that is us
Awesome.
for January. I'm looking forward to February's episode. I'm not sure how much games are going to come out that we can discuss, but I'm sure we'll put something together. We might have Switch 2 news or Switch Mag. We might have some Switch Mag news by then.
Just going to go quickly
discuss.
trademark that right now.
But another fun episode, boys.
Awesome. Thanks so much for joining us, Josh, and we'll catch you next month.
Catch you next month.
Yeah.
And now that we're caught up on everything gaming, let's catch up on some nerdy news with the Nerd News Network. Starting off at the top, John Goldstein, the marketing chief for Warner Bros., who oversaw the incredibly successful Barbie promotions, has stepped down from their role. I don't know if it's for good reasons, bad reasons. They've moved on to somewhere else that they prefer, but that's a loss for Warner Bros. If he had any like real creative input into how they did Barbie, because that's arguably one of the greatest film marketing campaigns of the modern era.
This is the thing. It's like, if they've stepped down as either, I mean, it's bad, unfortunately, for the DCU because they would have loved to have that sort of person there to help promote the DCU kicking off.
Assuming once again they were a massive part of it. Yeah,
and to be honest, they're probably anything for Superman's probably already worked on and ready to go. But like, I wonder if like, has Disney picked them up? Has someone else? Are they going somewhere else where they're like, oh, you did such a good job on Barbie, we want you.
Yeah. Like, or if they've done such a good job that their CV's so padded now, if they created like their own agency and they're just going to like freelance for whoever pays them the most money.
Possibly.
It's not uncommon to do things like that.
Not at all.
Next up, Cynthia Avero, I think I'm pronouncing that right, said she wanted to play Storm in the MCU off the back of the incredibly viral Wicked.
Yes, I saw this. I mean, not against it. Well, we obviously want to see Storm in the MCU.
I'm desperate for Storm in the MCU. I don't get Storm vibes from her. Personally. She comes from like very much a musical theatre background. And I don't know if that would help or hurt with Storm.
Don't know.
And I also wouldn't be against getting like an African-born actress to come play Storm properly.
Yeah, I mean,
because like, let's be honest, Storm is a dark-skinned woman, and every time we've had Storm so far, it's been more light-skinned women.
Yeah, true.
And I wouldn't want to see what's happened with Green Lantern and how the community's reacted to that in the kind of, this sucks, someone who's always been known to be black-skinned in the comics is being played by a light-skinned actor. I wouldn't want to have that happen again, because that would be horrible for Cynthia when she's just excited to play a role, but also it would mean that representation's suffering in a way that it doesn't need to suffer. But it's very exciting that people on such high-profile projects are
Well-
excited about Marvel characters again.
Well, yeah, and want to
For
be in
a
the
little
MCU
while
again.
there, it didn't feel like that was happening.
Yeah, there was a period of time where I don't think anyone was really being like, "Oh, I want to be in the MCU," because it was in a bit of a dip, and they're like, "Oh,
Yeah,
unlucky MCU." But now they're back on it.
Exactly. Denis Villeneuve has confirmed to the Wrap that he will end his Dune tenure with Dune Messiah, as he said, and I quote, "After that, it would become unhealthy." Which I think is just responsible, isn't it?
Well,
Know
yeah,
your limits.
it's we know any of these big like trilogies. I look at Lord of the Rings, Peter Jackson.
Takes a lot at you.
They often then take years off because it's just like, yeah, it's a lot to put into these.
Them films steal your soul.
Yeah, and like we know the Dune films have like there is a huge amount of pressure for the third one to be better than the second. Like these first two have blown people away. Everyone's gonna be like overly hyped for the third one and think this is gonna be even better. And like as the person behind that, like you're gonna put so much pressure on yourself to do this as best as possible.
Exactly. I couldn't agree more. The Hollywood Reporter has said that Sony executive Palak Patel, that oversaw Sony's Spider-Man spin-offs and the MCU Spider-Man films, has left the company.
Who could have foreseen this?
I mean, again, I'm sure he's not particularly bad or particularly good at what he does. I don't know what the role of an executive in this regard actually is. This is one of them jobs that feels like a made-up job. Maybe he had a lot of input. Maybe he had no input. Maybe he should have had more input to save the spin-off films. I don't know. But when the MCU films, he was just like the Sony contact for because they were handled by Marvel. And then the ones he dealt with at Sony have, for the most part, been massive failures. He wasn't going to stay there forever.
No.
He just needed to get away from that.
I imagine he's the sort of person, this role's the sort of one that it's like, there's people under him that offer advice. At the end of the day, he'll make the final decision on the direction that Sony was going to go with how we're going to approach Spider-Man. And it's like the person at the top, when things go wrong, it's at the end of the day, it all comes back to them.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's not going to affect his career. Let's be realistic.
No, he's moved on to another role at another production company already.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah, he's probably more so just trying to distance himself from being associated with that.
Yeah, probably. Coleman Domingo has joined Edgar Wright's Running Man reboot, according to Deadline. Of course, the Edgar Wright reboot of the Arnold Schwarzenegger 80s film with Glenn Powell and co. that I will not shut up about until I see it. Another exciting actor joins the cast. There is yet to be a single thing about this film that doesn't make me go, hell yeah, and that's a fun place to be.
It's like this and the Christopher Nolan one just keep announcing more people to their cast, and you're like, really?
They're having a roster off, Horry.
It does feel like it's like, oh, who's gonna leak the next person or announce the next person joining the cast?
Eventually, me or you's got to get a phone call, surely.
Yeah, because from all those auditions that we've ever done.
The Fox, Warner Bros. And Disney project, Venue Sports, that would have streamed ESPN, TNT, and Fox Sports all together in one place, has been cancelled.
Do we wonder if they realised they get classified as a monopoly for doing this, and then?
I was going to say, do you remember us discussing this? It feels like forever ago. Yeah. I think back then the project didn't even actually have a name. And we were like, surely that can't happen. None of these people are going to play well enough, long enough for it to happen. And also, that would absolutely be a monopoly. Surely the FTC would be like, absolutely not.
I bet it got put into a pitch deck. There was probably some disagreements on splits because these companies would take ages. And then they'll also have got some lawyer to look it over who will have gone, this is going to get contested as a monopoly. Be prepared for that. And then they've all kind of gone, yeah, it's not.
Well, it's funny because you've got to remember Disney already owns Fox.
Yeah, So
Which is what part of the reason I was like, that's weird. I don't know how
Yeah.
that even makes sense. So yeah. We got an Until Dawn teaser. Apparently, a trailer's due next week. Have you ever watched or played the Until Dawn game?
no.
Okay, so Until Dawn was a PlayStation exclusive,
That
and as I
explains.
think I've said before, I'm a massive nerd for watching playthroughs of horror games.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do it myself, but I love watching it. It's my favourite thing. This is one of my favourites. It had a lot of very good actors in it. People like Jordan Fisher were in it.
Right.
You had your gentleman who was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and played the hidden Hydra agent were in it. Melinda, I forget her name, who played London Tipton in Zack and Cody was in it.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of like recognizable faces that you'd be like, oh, that's so and so.
Yeah.
Rami Malek was in it. How the fuck did I
Oh.
forget Rami Malek? Yeah, before he was very famous as well, which is really funny in hindsight. And they're making a film based on the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you remember, I said, I wonder how they're going to do that, because the game is like, you control how many people survive based on your decisions.
Right.
And are they just going to tell the same story?
Yes. I feel like
They're
I
not.
recall you. Got you.
They're telling a different story with a different cast, but they're making it almost video game like.
Right.
In the sense of what they said in the teaser was, they get trapped in this place and they've got to try and survive until dawn. But every time they all die, it like resets, or every time a few of them die, it resets, and like the style of horror film changes. I like conceptually, I like what they're trying to do. We'll see if they manage to pull it off. But the idea of them being in like a slasher horror,
Yeah.
and then like it resets, and they're like, wait, well, okay, what did you do this time? How do we get out of here? And then they're in like a psychological horror for the next 30 minutes. Sounds interesting.
Yeah, it'll all come down to how well they pull off like the different
Absolutely.
styles of horror.
Yeah, and if it's just like tonally styles, or if they try and fuck with visual styles, but
Yeah.
you know, I'm a big fan of people trying stuff in an artistic way.
Yeah.
So I mean, I
guess
will be giving this film a chance.
the other thing as well is like, do they end up straying too far from it feeling like Until Dawn? Like, is this just? Is there any need for it to be called that?
It's a horror film. We're using a video game IP, and we've put what is a kind of video game element to it.
Yeah.
Jobs are good.
Yeah, we'll kind of wait and see, I guess.
But there is always a chance that they nail the concept so well that even though it's an Until Dawn, we're like, who gives a fuck? That rocked.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, it was interesting. I look forward to seeing the trailer. I think they said next week or in the next few weeks. This one pissed me off to no end.
I saw this on the headline. I was like, oh, I'm sure that I know it's gonna.
Yeah. Andy Muschietti, the director of The Flash, has claimed The Flash flopped because no one is interested in the character, and on a budget that big, studios expect the film to appeal to everyone.
Yeah, those people that watched all the way through the Flash CW don't care about the Flash at all.
So this is one of numerous points to be made here, right? If a film with that big a budget needs to appeal to everyone, and you're going to use a character that you says no one's interested in, it shouldn't have that big a budget. Find a way to do it cheaper.
Agreed.
Secondly, the CW managed to make The Flash one of their most successful shows for a decade.
Yep.
People care about the fucking character. Maybe, just maybe, you don't make The Flash's first ever feature film not have any of his villains in it.
Maybe, if you actually want to get people to care about the Flash, maybe pick an actor that they don't hate.
Like, I'm not being funny. Imagine, right, launching a character on the big screen for the first time. And I've said this before. The Flash has probably got a top 5 rogues gallery in comic books.
Mm-hmm.
For his first film, you have a legitimate option of just Captain Cold. You don't even need all of the rogues, but you
Yeah.
could do all of the rogues. Gorilla Grodd or
Mhm.
Reverse Flash.
Mm-hmm.
Like all three of them, and that's without even looking at a comic book or breaking a sweat. That is just three Flash villains: Captain Cold, Gorilla Grodd, Reverse Flash. Boom, done. And they went, "What if? No. What if we do the Black Racer, who is the embodiment of death, but we make him uninteresting in every way, and we shoehorn in a weird reveal that it's a version of Barry?"
Yeah, which then is trying to almost make it Reverse Flash, but isn't.
Yeah.
And then it was like, yeah, it was such a.
What if
and
we
then,
make it a Flashpoint concept, but we don't have Reverse Flash be anything to do with it?
oh, what if we like appear in this random dome that just
And
shows
then
really weird optional universes?
horrible CGI of iconic beloved actors who are dead. Yeah. I don't understand how in the same sentence you can go, we had too money to be successful, and no one cared about the character that was primetime TV for 10 years.
Do you know what? I think
What are we doing?
I think you get on really well with that executive that didn't understand why Craven flopped. Like, I think those two had really hit it off in a room together.
I've got to be honest, when I saw that he was director of Batman the Brave and the Bold, I wasn't super worried. I was a little bit but I was like, I trust James Gunn. If he's going to come out and say that the Flash flopped because no one cares about the character and it had too much money and therefore too much pressure on it, get him the fuck away from Batman.
I mean, my hope with
Get him
Batman...
away from films.
I mean, yeah, I would like to think James Gunn has strong control over these films at the moment, at least for the start of this. Like, he is going to be yay or nay on a lot of the things. I would imagine if James Gunn isn't happy, he will get rid of him.
I try and keep my ego in check with things like, oh, I think I could do a better job than these people who do this as their career and are very talented. Never before have I read something that's made me instantly go, I would be a better director than you tomorrow morning.
Here's also, like, just to play
Because
devil's
I
advocate
wouldn't have
here,
made that Flash film, I promise you fucking that.
to play devil's advocate on his comment here, this could just be him saying the words of the executive team that are telling him that's how he has to respond to these questions.
Maybe. But if that's the case, the entire executive team also needs firing.
Well, yeah, we've said that. We know that.
That was insane to me. No one cares about the Flash.
Like, if he's like, my film's flopped and the executive team's telling him, oh, it's because no one cares about Flash. And if anyone asked you, that's what we're saying. It's not our fault.
Yeah, it's craziness.
Yeah.
Captain America: Brave New World would be the shortest Captain America film with a runtime of 1 hour 58 minutes. I've got to be honest. If you told me 1 hour 58 minutes was the shortest Captain America film, I'd be surprised.
It's funny because I saw this and I was like, oh, that's in my head, right? And this is because of partly I think because of my age and your age as well. You'll think the same. 1 hour 20 used to be the standard length, like a 90-minute film, maybe 110 minutes was kind of like your standard runtime, hour and a half.
Yeah. Now, bearing in mind, this is only
the shortest. Is like it's still long.
Only half an hour shorter than Civil War, which is the longest. So Civil War with all them characters is the longest.
Yeah.
Winter Soldier is 2 hours 16 minutes, and the first Avengers 2 hours and 4 minutes.
Yeah. So
it's a negligible difference. Yeah. But we now have a runtime, 1 hour 58 minutes. I think it's fine. Yeah. I like my films around the 2 hour mark. I think if I was to choose like my ideal film length, it'd probably be about 2 hours 15, 2 hours 20. But as long as you're kind of within 45 minutes either side, like, I'm not super stressed.
Yeah, I mean, 2 hours is fine. Keep the 3 hour films for the big Avengers ones, like the big films that need it. Like,
I mean, I would be lying if I said I wouldn't happily make every film I watch forever a 4 hour film. I don't mind spending that much time on something, but that's completely fine to me.
Yeah.
This was a rogue one.
Yeah, I had to
Ferran
Google this
Tahir-
guy when you put it in here.
Yeah. Ferran Tahir is apparently returning to his role from Iron Man 1 for the Vision series. So in Iron Man 1, he kind of played the chief kidnapper of Tony
Yeah.
Stark at the beginning of the film.
And then he gets burnt on the side of his face.
Yeah. And they do kind of set him up as someone who might be a problem later, but he never is.
No, never use him.
And he joins the list of potentially set up villains who never get used.
Yeah.
But now apparently he's coming back for Vision.
I like the idea that he's still
I'm
pent
coming
up on
after your son, Tony.
well, yeah, he's so pent up on still getting revenge on Tony that he's like, oh well, Tony made Vision.
Yeah, good
I'm
enough.
Yeah, I'm gonna hunt down Vision instead now. I mean, we have no idea what this Vision series is gonna be yet. Like,
Yeah.
maybe he's gonna capture him to try and turn him into their weapon or something.
Yeah, I really don't know, but there was just a weird one that I saw and I was like, we better include it. And then finally, just a tiny little bit to end the news. Daredevil trailer.
Yeah, all new footage we've never seen before.
Mhm. We are so back.
Do you know what's wild? There is a timeline where the original version of this show carried on. And this trailer would not have had Foggy in it, would not have had Karen in it. Like, it would have been...
Wouldn't have had Frank in it.
No. Probably would have been a very different vibe.
Uh-huh.
So, kind of crazy that thankfully it went through all those rewrites and reworks. And now we got something that, from what I'm seeing on social media as well, is like everyone is like, oh, this Daredevil's back. Like,
there was some brutality in this trailer. Pardon the pun, he was not pulling his punches.
No. There was, I want to say there was like more than what we used to with like Netflix obviously showed a fair bit, but like I feel like there's more like emphasis, or at least in the trailer there was.
What Netflix used to do was they did less blood, but they were really, their Foley artists are fucking criminals, because they were like, and you, like every time you punch one in the face, you felt like you heard every bone break in every part of their bodies. They used a lot of like the audio. Like I'll always remember the audio for the scene where Kingpin uses the door to crush someone's skull, and it is just like the most gross. Like you don't really see anything. It was like that's what Netflix are actually the kings of. In all fairness, they love using audio to really make it feel more graphic than it is.
But we got a lot of views and teasers for different villains and characters that are also going to be appearing.
They were really like, here's a who's who of who's in the show.
Yeah.
We got Matt and Kingpin and Foggy, Karen, Frank, White Tiger, Bullseye. Yes. We get a little indication that Matt had stopped as being Daredevil for at least some period of time.
Yeah. Because a line was crossed.
Yeah, and apparently they're good friends, or not good friends. They're getting on, and they're trying to suss out if the other one's up to shenanigans.
Yeah, I get the sense that Matt stopped being a vigilante, so he's kind of doesn't probably take responsibility for trying to deal with like Kingpin and stuff anymore.
Yeah.
And he's like, he's seen Kingpin game the system from what he believes of becoming the mayor, even though he knows everything that he did.
Well, I mean, the city does as well, because Kingpin's been to prison.
Yeah, but
so I wonder if he's like, if Kingpin's like on a platform of, I've reformed, I want to do better. Maybe Matt's kind of like...
Just look at Trump.
Yeah, there were some similarities.
But like, this is the thing, like, I imagine Matt knows every detail that Kingpin done. The public knows their share, but they won't know every...
But
like,
you've also got to remember, Matt is a devout Catholic.
Yes.
He does believe in forgiveness and second chances to an extent.
Yeah.
So as long as he isn't like painfully aware Kingpin's still doing something wrong, like you said in the trailers, I think you're gaming the system, but I can't. Yeah. I don't know it.
I think,
So
yeah,
prove
I
me
think
that
because
you're
he's
not.
stepped away from being a vigilante, Kingpin's probably dialed back on what he was doing because he's also trying to play this mayor angle.
He's like, I don't want to make it obvious that I'm still committing crimes because that will piss him off and he'll come back.
I also thought it was interesting how he mentions that Matt's come up in the world, which also makes me feel like, is Matt now a bigger law firm than just like a little...
Nelson and Murdoch got like a good building going. Like, are they cooking?
So that'll be interesting to see kind of like, what does that mean? Are they more like, is he more established as a lawyer, so it's going to be harder for him to come back? Obviously, he's got his little cave of equipment, the Daredevil cave.
Yeah.
So
I'm curious to see what happens, but it's got me ready for the show big time. March 4th,
something like that. Yeah,
month and a half.
It's going to be. I think it's going to be good, and I think it is
slap bang in the middle of Captain America and Thunderbolts as well. We go 3 for 3 there. Get ready for Fantastic Four.
I mean, going off the back of Agatha as well, like that was really good, and that surprised us. We know this has been reworked and done since, like, in the same time period, really, of like Agatha and stuff. Like, there's a high chance that this is just as good.
Yeah, very excited. I think you'd be a fool not to be at least cautiously optimistic.
Yeah.
And we can just hope for the best. Like I said, we've got Captain America next month, then this, then Thunderbolts, to hopefully warm us into a great summer of Fantastic Four, Superman, GTA 6.
Yeah.
What a summer we could have, man. I'm going to be
GTA
pretending
6
I'm
comes
16 years old again all summer. I'm like, superhero films and video games. But I think that's all we've got, unless you've got anything to add.
No, I think that is
awesome.
All the news.
Well, thanks so much for hanging out with us. Thanks so much to Josh for joining in again this week. We will be back next week with more goodness, and we will see you there.
Yes, we'll see you next time.